Hey, everybody, welcome to Unpaid and Underrated. This is episode 445 of the Unpaid and Underrated podcast for crew, by crew, and not so recently mocked by anybody other than Recentonomics and one of the Davids. I am one of the hosts, I guess. I'm Big Joey.
And I'm
joined by the guy who just who I paused and then interrupted.
well, you Paul. I was like, does he not know that we do it opposite of the sisters and the host the intro host introduces both hosts because that's just how we did it.
Sorry.
And then
over to my right,
and I'm like,
over to my right is Big Keith.
He had a brain fart for 4 seconds. Yeah, howdy.
And then right across from me, as always, is Big Kurt.
As always.
What up?
Sorry, that's I'm going through the back catalog. We're doing this.
Yeah.
Bring the heat.
Oh, the good stuff. Bringing it.
All right. So, not a ton to talk about. Discord has been quiet.
I mean, there was a lot of music stuff. We can get into that when we do rate last week's episode. A lot of that. I'll kick it off. I've got a I guess sack segment, if you will. It's gonna kind of be a 4-week running what's in the can for Keith. So newer crew member, to my knowledge, I'm pretty sure newer. Big Lauren from Wild Iron Fitness. I was mentioning that I couldn't find any Ramblers, and several people were pricks and said, "Oh, just get them off Amazon, you lazy fuck." And good, awesome crew that Lauren is said, I'll find some and I'll ship them out to you, Big Keiths. And sure enough, he did. And I got a 4 Ramblers from Austin, Texas. So very excited to try these. Tonight's is a lemon lime, so I'm gonna crack into this one, and it will be a what's in the can.
So you haven't had this yet, right?
No, brand new. Ooh, and I've never had a lemon lime either. I don't think it's always just lime or lime something. So the lemon lime, I've heard the sisters talk about it a few times, and this brand in general. So first reaction will be, well, that's good. That's very soda-y. Like, as in, like, it's got more of a lot more flavor. Like, yeah, damn, that's good. It's like even more flavor than Waterloo. So, and I think Waterloo is the most like good flavored one. So this is top tier.
It's a soda. It's good sody.
Yeah, that's not bad at all for being lemon lime. The lemon lime's throwing me off because I think I almost always have, like, I don't know. It's like Sprite adjacent, but more lemony than limey. But pretty good, very good. I think I got a blackberry, a plain, and I don't remember what the fourth one was. So yeah, this will be coming into your ears the next month of me drinking Ramblers.
Consuming.
Yep. There we go. Consuming. Stephanie got me good today. I said something about, I don't remember what the context was, but it was something I would be drinking, and I mentioned how I was going to chew it because I just misspoke, and then she made it, she really dug into me on that, and had something pretty funny to say. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was good.
There you go, Matt. There's an Always Sunny meme for you there.
Yeah.
Yeah. When's the last time you ate a beer? When's the last time you drank paint?
Right, yeah, it was pretty good. Thank you, Big Lauren.
Kurt, you got anything cool you're drinking, or do you care?
Close to that. I got a lime seltzer, so at least I'm on brand.
Nice.
Yeah.
I got a water. I got water with red shit in it. I got red 45 water.
Well, speaking of red shit, I'm wearing the Massnomics 7-year podcast t-shirt.
Yeah,
not right? Shit, just red.
Jesus.
Red shit adjacent, I guess. Is that a Zen?
We're off to a good start. Yes, it is a Zen, and I'm not sure I want it in there anymore.
You moved it from one side of your mouth to the other side of the mouth.
Yeah, I'm all dried out.
I've never done that. I don't know. Kurt, what you wearing over there, buddy? Look, you get that.
I got a lifting crew sweatshirt on.
Nice.
I got the blue lifting crew sweatshirt on. Got a couple new t-shirts recently, but I'm going with this tonight.
Nice. It's one of the good ones.
Yeah.
Yep. Keith, what am I wearing?
A microphone. Oh, weight as a number, heavy as a feeling. I can almost never say that phrase right unless I read it. So heavy as a number, weight as a feeling to describe that.
Nope, other way around. Weight as a number, heavy as a feeling.
Yeah, so it's essentially saying it's kind of like we don't gatekeep around here. You can pull 135 or 445. You're pretty cool either way.
Yep. All right. Yeah. It's not. What does Steve always say to me? Big Steve. It doesn't matter how much you lift as long as you lift how much you can.
I like it.
Yeah, that was Keith Poorly Explains t-shirts. That will be an
Yes.
ongoing segment, and I will be pulling out. I actually went through my t-shirts recently, and I have a whole.
Stack of new ones
Oh
to
no,
fuck
I
with.
got a whole
Well,
basket of smalls
yeah.
that I haven't worn in months.
You can
And
honestly just hold them up, and that can be the segment.
yeah, actually, I should. I should just have a pile here and
Because
be
you
like,
probably
Keith,
have
explain this one.
you probably have some that you've never worn on the podcast, like ever.
Yeah,
If you,
yeah, because getting big and shit.
oh yeah.
All right, so that skips through those two.
Let's see. We had the lot of YouTube videos this week. I guess we can go. Let's go with the Huck Finn kind of thing. So, friend of the podcast, Huck Finn, he made it out to Massonomics Gym. It was kind of funny because he kept referencing how he spent. Oh, I spent 48 hours in Massonomics Gym, and then another time he said, "Oh, I spent 36 hours in Massonomics Gym, 24 hours in Massonomics Gym." It was really like 17 hours or something. It was less than a day, but it was still funny. It was good stuff. He met up with Lou Nutter out in Iowa, right? And then they
Omaha.
proceeded. Yeah, Nebraska.
Brad.
Yep, you're right. So from Nebraska, then they went to Little Sweeties, and then they were like, "You coming with us?" And then Little Sweetie jumped in. After they spent the night at Little Sweeties, so let's see, it would have been Finn, Boss Man, Lou, and Big Bryce went all to Aberdeen, I guess, on the Saturday night, and then they went out and got all shitty, and they ended up sleeping at the gym. If anyone hasn't seen Tom, I think so. By the time this comes out, hopefully Finn has the extra YouTube video up because right now he has a Tanner home gym slash Massonomics basement gym tour up that came out a couple days ago. But then hopefully he was working on. He said he had a lot of content from the night they actually stayed in the gym, so that would actually be great because just Lou and Bryce on camera getting all drunk and shit, and that'll just be fun to see. And like them, I want to say that Lou and Bryce slept on a couple pairs of crash pads, so that's like, let's see, so Lou's probably 230 or 240, Bryce is fucking 350, so like that's a lot of meat on a couple pairs of crash pads. So Brad the Pad definitely got his workout supporting one of those gentlemen's asses over the weekend. And they did tell the Big Megan on the podcast, on the Let's Get Stupid podcast. He said that he basically told the Big Megan story because he actually met Megan like as she came in. He said like they got woke up. So yeah, imagine this. So like they were all. I think Tom said they were drinking till like 2 or 3 and passed out, and then like 5, 6 o'clock, maybe 6 or 7 o'clock, like the morning crew showed up on Sunday, started lifting, turning the lights on, waking them up and stuff, and then the morning crew kind of phased out, and then a little bit later when no one else was there, Megan came in. So they just said like just 2 or 3 guys laying on this fucking air mattress, and Megan comes in with her cane, and they're just like, "What the fuck?" Like they were so like caught off guard, and then they had a good conversation with her and everything, and it's just funny to the story that she told us, and just having that. I don't know, like I feel like that's what I love about the podcast is we get people on, and then when I see them in other media sources and other content, if you will, it's just kind of cool to be like, "Hey, I know them very well," so. That should be all coming out. That was the Huck Finn stuff. And he obviously did the big tour with Tanner. And then the other YouTube video would have been Massonomics tours Chad Wesley Smith's gym. I
Mhm.
think that was the first one in they probably got 6 gym tours out in California, I guess. So Chad's was pretty good. I've seen a lot of Chad's content, so I kind of knew his gym pretty well. So there wasn't any big surprises there for me. So did you guys either of you have a chance to watch the Chad's gym tour?
I just saw that for the first time like a couple hours ago, so I haven't checked out the video. I was mainly just looking at the stuff on social media and like all of the different tours that they did out in California, some of the crew members' gyms and things like that.
Oh yeah.
I did get to watch it, but then halfway through, Morgan decided to hijack my TV with her iPad, so I only got through about half of it, and then I was like, I'm not restarting this. So yeah, I did get to see it. Very nice home gym. A lot of BJJ talk. A lot of Iron Neck talk.
Yeah. Yeah, he has 2 iron necks because someone wore out his first one, and I'm thinking to myself like, well, does the first one still work? If it does, why I'd replace it, and if it doesn't, why do you still have it? Like,
Yeah,
fucking throw it away, get rid of
it's a nostalgia.
it. Yeah, I guess. So let's. I do have a story I want to end with on general topics, but I think the rate the podcast will segue into a lot of music talk, or at least so. Kurt, did you get a chance to listen to last week's episode? And if so, what was your favorite parts, and what would you rate it?
Yeah, I did get a chance to listen to this week's episode. I think I listened to this one in record time actually, and it was one of my favorites.
Pun
I
intended.
was laughing out loud for a good amount of it, like really from the first couple minutes into all the discussion about the music. There was just a couple moments that had me belly laughing out loud, and it was kind of the reason why I become so involved with Massonomics was the kind of content that they were doing on this episode.
Nice.
Yeah,
So
that
if you
was.
had to,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
I was just gonna say if you had to rate it, what would you?
I'm gonna go 5 out of 5 Iron Crosses on that.
There you go.
Yeah, definitely. Because I've been on vacation. I'm not driving, right? So I finally got a chance to get through it. I think yesterday or the day before. And obviously, I've got a lot of agreements, disagreements. I do appreciate the name drop for Darude Sandstorm, despite that not being in my playlist at all. I thought that was really funny. Where Tanner was like, "Well, what about Joey Sandstorm?" And I was like,
Oh, you must have got it mixed up with something. I don't know.
"No, he's definitely
Or
right. It is an ongoing joke about how that
okay.
song is always in the playlist, except it's never in the playlist." And then and Tommy's like, "No, that doesn't fit the vibe." And then went into 50 Cent, and I'm like, come on, man. Like,
So many other songs. I was just like, I don't think
yeah.
I've ever heard that song in my gym in my entire 10-year lifting adventure of listening to Spotify and shit.
Well,
So
I think we got to that point where we realized you've never heard anything. Um, yeah, there was a solid 48 hours of ragging on Keith in the
oh
Discord
yeah,
fear.
I
Yeah.
still it's like oh so well I'll get into
Okay,
yeah
my
so rate
rating. Sorry, my
yeah
rating
yeah
is 5 out of 5 Ramstein live shows on movies you have definitely watched.
Triple X Triple X movies, but not the kind you're thinking of. Get your head out of the gutter. Um, yeah, I enjoyed it as always. The music tier list, I don't know, like agree, disagree. I did, Mike. I guess my favorite part, honestly, would be the amount of literal discord that it caused in the Discord, and just there was 1,000 comments. I feel like there
Yeah,
was so much back and forth because everyone, like Tanner summed it up a couple different times. It's like, you know, everyone will have their opinion about something, and they'll think everyone else's opinion is completely
we're gonna
wrong.
make
It's like,
somebody mad. Yep.
yeah, but I don't know. I think the hardest part for me was when like songs that I still listen like if it was I don't know. What was it Bodies? What was the two they really shit on? Bodies and
Drowning Pool for sure.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
Johnny Pool can
I'm
eat it.
like I don't
And
I still listen
Disturbed
to
too, right?
yeah, it's like I will still listen to Bodies and like not like that's not funny to me. Like I think like three different times Tommy was like if you play this song, I think I would think you were joking and I'm like if I play that song, I'm probably gonna go fucking hit an RP 9.7 squat, like, and I'm gonna enjoy the shit out of listening to that song, just because I've been listening to it for 30 years and it hasn't gotten any worse.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, your music taste really got put on blast a bit there. Saying you've never heard Ramstein is,
Yeah, I don't. I
it,
still don't
but
know.
no, the thing is,
It's
like,
so weird that
I
everyone
can verify that you
listen.
can, you
Well,
have heard it.
regardless, okay.
Like,
Well,
you've literally watched a movie with a
that's
live
fine.
performance of
I
them
have
in it.
I have consumed them in the background. I will attest to that. I will
But then,
agree to
how
that.
can we
But like,
trust your movie rating? Like, how can I trust that you watched the
do
movie
you
to give it a
tell me
reasonable
tell
rating?
me every band that was in the background of any movie you've ever watched
They
out of
weren't in the background. They were the forefront. The entire music video was that song from that movie. They
yeah.
did the entire song Firefly, and they had like flames shooting out of their face and guitars. Like, there's no way that you just
Pretty sure I worked at the movie theater when that was at the theater too. Maybe it
yeah.
might have
So
been right
that
before
so
that.
either I can't trust what you're saying about Rammstein, or I can't trust your movie ratings anymore.
Well, no one trusts my movie ratings
That's like
regardless.
saying
So
you watch Ace Ventura and don't know who Cannibal Corpse is.
I don't have a fucking clue what that means. I don't know what Cannibal Corpse is. When someone said that in Discord, I said I don't know who that is. I don't follow music that religiously, like at all.
But like their name is
Yeah.
in it. Like
I
it
haven't
says
watched
Cannibal
that movie since I
Corpse.
was fucking 12 years old.
Ah. So anyway, this is part of the hassle of being Keith is
Yeah. Well, I feel like Toby should have got more fucking heat for not knowing one of the most overplayed Eminem songs of the world. Was
no,
it,
that
that was
wasn't
the
even it, no,
wasn't it
no, no.
wasn't
It
it
wasn't
wasn't it
Lose
the
Yourself. It was the other terrible
It was
song.
Till I Collapse, right?
I don't even think I could name that song right
I
now.
don't remember. I think it was the wasn't it the one
When the
from
lights go out and is that the one?
It's
I
Till I
think it
Collapse. Yeah.
uh
Yeah, okay.
I was just funny because like Toby got a little snippet of what I dealt with, and then when I said I didn't know who Ramstein was, he immediately got on the bandwagon. Said, well, fuck Keith. Let's fuck him again. It's just like you son of a-" I was like, kind
Shift
of,
it.
yeah. So I don't know. It was all in all. I think everyone definitely had different opinions. And then there's some quiet. I don't think there's like a handful of people didn't really say too much either. Like in the some of the people that you would expect to comment in Discord regularly didn't really have much follow up. So I found that a little interesting as well. So
It
So what
was
was your rating?
reassuring though to hear them talk about the time frame of music that still gets listened to, that still gets played, that's still in heavy rotation. And I'm like, yeah, I fall into that category too. And we're talking about music from like 98 to I don't know, 2010. And then there's a pretty sharp drop off after that. I was like, yeah, I can totally agree
Yeah.
with that.
but does it, or is it just because we don't necessarily associate with people that like weren't around in 2010 listening to the same music? Like, is it just that like 20-year-olds aren't listening to the shit that like they talked about? I can't imagine,
I mean,
but
Tommy
maybe.
name dropped Kendrick Lamar and saying like he used to listen to that when he lifted, and obviously like that's big now with the Super Bowl halftime show as well. I know there are modern artists, but I just don't know of any others that are just universally recognizable and that like everyone's listening.
Yeah, but all
I
in all,
see.
I yep, yep.
I'm on the opposite end of that. Is like I put my playlist in the Discord, and there's a lot of new artists in there. So like a lot of them, of course, international artists because for the most part, Canadian and American music is kind of boring at the moment. But at the same time, like I disagree. I think there's a lot of really good modern music, but I think that our generation is specifically focused not on how good the music was, but on how we felt when we heard it. And so when I hear somebody say all new music sucks, all I can think is you don't listen to music. You don't actually enjoy music.
I don't.
You just like the feelings it gave you the first time you heard it.
That's fair.
Yeah,
How many hours a week do you consume music?
Personally, myself,
Yes. Well,
almost all of them.
everyone.
Almost all of
Okay.
them. Like
Okay.
music is
So,
always on.
yeah, I listen to music like 3 hours a week, and well, okay, so for every minute I'm in the gym, the music's on, and outside of the gym, I listen to music for an hour a month, maybe. Like 'cause
Yeah.
I don't like driving to music because I get too fucking intensive with it. I either like fucking get emotional like with a sad song, or I fucking get angry with a fucking angry song. So like, I do not consume music. I listen to fucking 30 hours of podcast and book tapes a fucking week probably, but
Yeah.
I do not listen
I
to music.
can't I
So
can't do that because I can't focus on voices that long.
yeah.
I
So
don't I
that's
don't
also why I don't care about music enough to
yeah.
like have a following. Like I just don't.
I don't like people in general, so the idea of constantly having people talk to me would it
Yeah,
just drives me mad.
I
But
feel
like
that.
today is a perfect example. I listened to the Scissor Sisters, Chapel Roan, and Alice in Chains, and then I put on the Eurovision movie. And like so, music is definitely a huge part of my life. But I think you guys would have understood that by now, listening to this many episodes of this podcast. Is that like my music taste is everywhere. So, what
Oh,
was your
I'll
okay.
rating?
go with that.
Let's go with 5 out of 5 Ramsteins, whatever the fuck that is.
Jeez.
Uh, and then I got a marketplace deal of the week story I want to give a little quick rundown on. So I picked up a couple new bars this week. There was a really sketchy, posting where not the best pictures and everything was listed as Titan. And then as I was scouring through the pictures, I was like, "That's not Titan. That's not Titan. That's not Titan." And I was like, "Let me look that up. That's either it was a knurled axle. Titan doesn't sell a knurled axle. There's only two people that make knurled axles that are black, a powder coat." And then I was like, I know both of them personally, so I was like, I was going back and forth with Dean at Black Widow. I was like, "Do you think this is yours?" And he's like, "It might be one of my older ones, but it's." And I was like, "Well, I don't know. It's probably Dave at Gorilla Strengths if it's not yours." And then once I got out there to look at it, it was I could tell whose it was, and basically picked that up. And then there was there was some other stuff there too. They had like a Mars bar that I almost got, but it's one of the newer ones where the sleeves have like you have to like tighten them up with an Allen key, and they were loose when I got there, and the guy didn't have an Allen key to kind of prove to me that they would tighten up, and he wasn't letting it go for cheap enough to take the risk. But to come to find out, well, basically there was another bar there too, an unopened Rogue barbell sleeve. So I was like, "Can we open this? Can we open this up and see what's in it?" And well, like once I could see on the label what it was. It was a stainless steel Ohio bar, but I still wanted to see what it actually looked like, see what the sleeves were, verify it wasn't like a one of the grab bag bars or their boneyard bars. But yeah, open it up, the normal end caps as it should be. The bar looked mint, literally brand new, mint condition. It's like a $450 bar. And I was like, I'll give you $200 for both of them. And he was like, sure, sold. And I got a pair of 5, 10, and 15 pound York roundheads in the corner that I was like, how about these? What do you want for these? And it's like, if you're giving me $200 for both these bars, just take those. And I was like, cool. So, and I would have like spent more time going through because he had like piles of shit. But this was it was Friday. I had to pick my wife up at the airport, and I knew like I had a very short window to get there because like I just saw the ad like in 2 hours where I had to go pick her up, and it was like a 40-minute drive from here. So, and unbeknownst to me, when I left, it was starting to get a little kind of shitty out, and by the time I left that guy's house, it was a full blown like whiteout blizzard,
Last Friday. Yeah.
driving 30 miles an hour with my hazards on, fucking in it was horrible. So I basically got home and she texted me she had just landed. So I like basically had to unload the bars real quick so I could like put the seat back up in the car and then run to the airport. And but then to find out too, the cool thing of the story, I guess, almost sad, was the guy that I bought all the equipment off of, he had just bought the house. So the previous owner had passed away, and they just kind of, the family or whatever the situation was, like the gym just kind of came with it. And they found out the dude was like 83 years old. So to know that he was like, and some of this stuff was I've like the Mars bar's only been out for a few years, so it's not like this is like a 20-year-old gym the guy hasn't ever touched in 20 years. Like, so that means this like 80-plus-year-old dude was lifting up until he died essentially, and the poor son of a bitch didn't even have a chance to open up his brand new Rogue bar. So it was, I don't know, that was kind of like, I kind of felt a little bit of that at me. I was like I want to be this 80-year-old dude like lifting still in my home gym, but obviously the dying part was sad, but yeah, no, that was my deal of the week. And I actually shared it with the original uh, Dave at Gorilla Strength, who also makes the knurled axle bar. And I like typed him like a whole couple paragraphs explaining the situation. He was like, "Oh, that's really cool, dude. I'm gonna just like share it on his social media at some point, just of like the whole the older gentleman had it, now it's mine kind of thing." So very happy to have a knurled axle. I kind of feel bad now because I'm probably not going to buy Dean's at Black Widows, which I want to support my buddy because he's like but he's so far behind. If I ordered that bar now, I wouldn't get it for fucking like 4 months. So not a huge loss, I guess. But yeah,
So there's
two
two
new bars.
lessons here. There's two
Yeah, but
lessons here, I think, buddy. One, you have a haunted Rogue Ohio bar because A, you don't like the Ohio bar, and B, healthy people die.
yeah. Well, 83-year-old people
Yeah,
die, I
yeah,
guess.
even lifters die.
Yeah,
All
it's
right.
good stuff. So that was my week. Kurt, anything in the pop culture, Massonomics, Instagram, anything we missed that you wanted to remind us of?
Pop culture wise, Super Bowl's coming up
It
this week,
is.
so
Yeah.
and my team's in it, so that's been preoccupying a lot of my attention. And I've been really careful with that on the Discord because I know there's a lot of Vikings fans. There's probably a lot of other like Midwestern team fans too, and I just don't want to be an obnoxious prick about it. But I've been trying to balance that out as much as possible. I actually a couple weeks ago reached out to Big Brad the Pad, when there was a chance that the Eagles and the Lions might be playing in the NFC Championship game, and it would have been cool for us to kind of like have some banter back and forth on that, but lost out on that opportunity. So just hoping for the best this Sunday.
Oh, that's good stuff. I honestly think this might be like the least cared about Super Bowl, and
Yep.
like I don't even like I don't think my wife watches football as much or more than I do, and I don't think she cares to even watch it. Uh, I'm sure it'll be on, but I don't think I'm gonna be a nail biting like, oh my God, I have to watch this. I don't talk to me during the Super Bowl. It's just gonna be like,
Yeah,
it's just a game that I might watch.
that was me during the Royal Rumble. Shut down everything, just chatted with some of the Discord, and like definitely think the Royal Rumble had more attention on it than the Super Bowl at the moment.
No, yeah, and if anyone listening is a wrestling fan and you want to get in on that Discord, the first step is you got to be a guest on our podcast first because we have our own little private Discord where Joey and Nate we made a little channel for wrestling talk, and I don't. Every now and then I'll look at it and it's got like 30 new comments, and I'm like, God damn, these boys are going back and forth. So I think it's been really good for Joey to have that outlet. But if anyone else wants to get on that, you got to get on our podcast first.
I have another Discord I joined. It was a buddy of mine, and he just does like extensively everything. I think this Discord server has 200 channels, and I joined for the pro wrestling one, but it's all what we call smarks, smart marks, and like I would love to talk about wrestling to wrestling fans who just are here to enjoy it. Because I get it. I know all the dirt sheets. I know all the stuff. I know all of it. I just don't want to. If I say I really enjoyed this match, I don't want to hear the politics behind the match. I don't want to hear about the botches. I don't want to hear, like, we get it, dude. You're cool. You're smart. So that's what I like about our Discord chat is everybody's just kind of there to enjoy wrestling a bit, right? So if you are, get on in there.
From what I hear, it was a pretty good one, Joe.
The Royal Rumble or the
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, okay, we can give my brief. Joey talks about the Royal Rumble. Spoilers, Charlotte won the women's Royal Rumble. That is not a spoiler to anybody that's been watching wrestling for any amount of time. She's been gone for a year and a half, showed up, won. It's like the third time she's done it. We all saw it coming as soon as she was announced. And I kind of said earlier, like, I don't want to hear the smart business. I don't want to hear all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I just didn't want her to win again. I don't have any value. Charlotte is one of the greatest women's wrestlers in that federation. Absolutely. Does she deserve to walk off the back from a year and a half to win the Royal Rumble when you had so many other people? Alexa Bliss made her return. Stephanie Vaquer, I'm suddenly obsessed with her. Like, she was awesome. There's so many people that should have won that. And for her to just be like, no, I'm Charlotte. I win things. That kind of got annoying, especially because I just don't need to see her do another title run. Like, we get it. The winner of the men's was Jey Uso, who, you know what? Yeah, I can see that push coming. Um, am I a fan of his? Nah, not really. I'm not going to be wearing a Yeet shirt any day of the week.
I hate that phrase.
Didn't really love him eliminating John Cena. There was a couple other BS ones. I definitely called Drew McIntyre to win. I really wanted Drew McIntyre to win, but I think we all know I have a crush on Drew McIntyre because that dude is hilarious. Like, his social media is funny. He's a great wrestler. He's got everything. Yeah, that would be my quick breakdown of that. I look forward to see where they're going. No members of the Wyatt Six showed up. Alexa Bliss was the only even close to supernatural character that showed up, and Stephanie Vaquer. But yeah,
Now,
it was all right.
Was that on Netflix or was that still
Everything's
on,
on
like,
Netflix now, which is
Yeah,
actually amazing.
So even the paper,
Yes, everything. So
that's
I think
wild.
they shut down the WWE network and moved it all to Netflix. And then they raised Netflix's price by $1 and everybody freaked out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, see, I don't care because the network was $22 a month.
Yeah.
So I pay an extra $1 to have access to everything ever.
Are they ever going to do, like, I remember someone saying, like, they're going to do, like, an additional, like, you still essentially have pay-per-view inside of Netflix. Is that a thing that's going to happen with their pay-per-views? It's just going to straight up be free?
But right now, it's all just included in your Netflix subscription.
Yeah, that's wild because that seems like you can't make enough. I don't know, unless Netflix just wanted their business so bad that they basically just, like, are paying WWE so much money to then, like, just disregard all the millions of pay-per-view dollars. But I don't know, people.
But there wasn't pay-per-view dollars. That's
what I was gonna say.
There was network dollars. People were paying $22 a month for the network.
Okay. So,
whereas instead of them running everything, they can hand half the control to Netflix.
I guess pay-per-view doesn't really exist anymore.
Exactly. Like, you could buy a one shot for $35.
Didn't it used to be a lot more when we were kids? I swear. I thought they were like $80 or something.
I actually still think that's what it was when I was a kid. I don't know how much it is now.
Yeah, and I think that's what it was. I think it's like the boxing fights and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
So crazy.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, there's wrestling talk until we get into more wrestling talk.
All right, Big Kurt, you want to hit us with a Massonomic sponsor read for us, bud?
Absolutely.
Cool beans.
Did you ever notice the Easy Curl bar in your basement and think, where the hell did that come from? Did you ever look at a map of North America and get a strange feeling of nostalgia when you get down to Mexico? When listening to people talk, do you often wish that they would speak up loud enough for all the people in the back? Well, if you're looking for a strong and silly crew who have had similar trains of thought, then look no further than Massonomics. Joining Massonomics is as easy as airing out a used horse stall mat. First, tune into the Massonomics podcast, a weekly show that originates from beautiful western and northeast South Dakota. This show will provide you with all the latest and greatest information on how to get strong, how to stay strong, and how to use your strength. Also, head on over to Massonomics.com and check out all the sweet apparel available through the Massonomics store. You'll be able to get your hands on many items that you simply cannot afford to miss out on, including quality-made safety devices to support your beverages, outstanding beer parody t-shirts that haven't been banned, and gym shorts that'll progressively overload anyone's budget. Finally, consider becoming a supporting member. For as little as $3 a month, not only will you help support our founders' flavored water and Rambler consumption, you'll also get access to the group Discord, where you can help contribute to driving inside jokes into the ground with RPE 10 intensity. Massonomics, live hard and live easy.
Nice. That was the perfect ad read. I enjoyed that immensely. Well done.
Yeah, we definitely have not spoken about Missing Mexico enough. I refuse to let that go. That was
That caught me completely by surprise. So when you guys were talking about stuff in the Discord, as soon as I put my license plate out there, that kind of sparked a Missing Mexico conversation, and I had missed that previous conversation.
yeah.
So that one took me completely by surprise, and I had to catch up on it.
I don't even know who that guy is, which is like a surprise to nobody that I don't know who somebody is. But I guess they posted these license plates, and some big lifter guy that other people know was just like, if you miss Mexico so much, get on a plane. Trump's got one.
Oh,
And
that's
everybody
funny.
was just like, what? It means Massonomics. And I refuse to let it go. I will always call it Missing Mexico every chance I get now.
I think Brad sent me a picture of Miss New Mexico. He's like, "What is your thing with this chick, man?"
Oh, that's now I wondered what the fuck that I didn't understand that, and now that I have more context, I missed all of that.
Oh,
So now
that's a good evolution of the
a
stupidity.
lot of that's funny. I was like, what the fuck? Why are they posting like a some fucking
Yeah.
Miss whatever?
Yeah, he likes Miss New Mexico.
Yep.
Oh, that's good. It just goes to show you, man, like people just social media is full of the stupidest people and they just have it.
We don't have to be angry. Like it's not.
You don't have to be angry. It's like it takes so many years off your life. But then like
Don't tell me that. I'm never gonna see 83. No one's gonna buy my fucking. The people are gonna be buying my gym at 63.
Yeah, I'm coming down there. I'm buying all your gym.
Shortens your life. Shit.
But it's just like it's one of those things I keep saying is so the guy lifts a lot of weights. He's maybe a successful weightlifter. Why does a guy like that who just completely misses the mark is so obviously angry? Why do you even have a platform? And that's what I don't understand about social media influencers. Why do we give people a platform when they're like that? We could literally just say, you know what, man? Yeah, you're go sit in your rocking chair and stare at the wall. Like we're done with you.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't. We prop them up. We get them verified. And then, anyway, turn off your comments.
Yep. Let's turn off all these looky-loos and get rid of them and see if we can get Big Kurt on the horn. Say you, Kurt. You there, buddy?
Yeah, buddy.
Hey, welcome to the Unpaid and Underrated Podcast. Glad to get you on.
Here.
Kick it off, man. What brought you to Massonomics? It's our favorite. I want to hear your origin story. A fairly new crew, a very new crew. Let's hear the whole story.
Yeah, I'm a little bit of a baby, I guess. I fell into Massonomics completely by luck. So I was traveling down to visit my in-laws in Florida. And whenever I'm traveling, I always bring like my shoes with me. I bring my belt with me and I try to find a gym, it's fun. Like you get to meet new people, maybe you see new equipment, whatever. But the gym that I went to turns out had a bunch of the banners there. It had the curls banner. It had the bench heavy, a couple of different ones that are available on the store. And I had never heard of Masson. This would have been about a year and a half ago now at this point. This would have been like the summer of 23. So naturally, I started poking around the internet and trying to find these guys. And I came across some of the YouTube videos, came across some of the stuff on Instagram, and it was all hilarious. And it was all like the stuff that I'm into. It's about lifting and it's making fun of beer commercials. And I think one of the first ones I remember seeing, it was talking about the northern lights over South Dakota being especially beautiful, and it was like a picture of Ed Cohn up in the sky. And I'm like, this shit is hilarious. These guys are so funny. And then like once I started seeing a couple clips of them, I'm like, they seem really down to earth. They seem really cool. This is awesome. Then I found out that they were from South Dakota, and I had recently traveled to Montana with my wife for vacation. So I've kind of grown fond of that part of the country as well. So there was kind of like that connection and interest as well. So I ended up following it for about a year on and off, and then finally, I think I went over to the store and I saw the jean shorts available. I was like, oh hell yeah, I'm buying them. And then I saw it's like become a supporting member for $3 a month. And I was like, it's $3 a month. And, to use one of our jokes, you can't afford not to do that. Why wouldn't I do that? So that would have been about August last year was when I became a member of the crew. And so I haven't looked back since then. And, it's been an awesome experience. Plenty of inside jokes and plenty of great moments so far.
What about the podcast as far as listening to that? Where are you at on that journey?
So I went back and I started from episode 1, and I probably got about 5 episodes in really quickly because back then, I mean, the episodes were like 30 minutes, if
Yeah.
that, sometimes even shorter than that. So I started burning through a couple of them. But honestly, it's been cool catching up on your backlog. It's been
Nice.
cool kind of
The
listening.
real backlog, the official backlog of the crew. The crew's backlog, because it's literally the crew.
I actually talked to someone else about that recently. I was like, it is definitely necessary, I think, to catch up on all the backlog of Massonomics. But when you listen to some of the back episodes of Unpaid and Underrated, like especially the guys who I've met, so for instance, like Matthias or Toby or Spicy Pizza or Garrett, like it's cool to hear their whole backstory and get to learn more about these guys who I've hung out with now, or even people you might meet in the future as well. So kind of getting caught up on the Unpaid and Underrated backlog has postponed me going more into the old Massonomics episodes. I'm just trying to keep up week to week with the new episodes and staying current while working back on Unpaid and Underrated.
Well, there's our ad read.
Yeah, it sounds like a good plan to me. Like that's yeah. To toot our own horn a little bit. Like that is why we do this.
Yep.
Like,
Listen, my goal is to become
understood the assignment.
My goal is to become a friend of the Unpaid and Underrated podcast.
There you go. Well, you're making your second official, visit on it, and only been crew for fucking like 7 months. So that might be a PR right there. And it was wild to see you. I think you were fairly. I'm not sure. I know you say you joined. I don't know. Did you get in Discord right away, or because I don't remember you commenting at all, really? Maybe until you said you were coming to crew to December to remember Crew Falls.
That might have been one of my first comments.
Okay,
that was
okay.
the first comment. I mean, it was.
I'm like, who the fuck's this new guy that's like spending $2,000 to come out there? Spending $1,000 to come out to Crew Falls.
Some guy sending me DMs, and of course, because it's crew, I just instinctually trust it. He's like, "Oh, where are you? What are you landing?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm right here." Meanwhile, this is like, a federal agent coming after me or something. I don't know. I didn't investigate anything.
That's good stuff.
That's what I found out in Crew Falls. I think the general talk was, who is this guy? Does anyone know him? Let's hope that he's not a serial killer. Let's hope that this turns out well.
Hey, it did. Turned out great.
Yeah, man.
Well, if everyone else wants to get to know you, where are they going to find you out on Instagram, or what's your Discord username and all that?
So I'm Big Kurt on the Discord, and on Instagram you can find me. It's KDubs_82.
Nice. Cool bean.
I'm fucking dying here, man.
It's all good.
This is the last day of my vacation, and I am so I'm not ready to go back to work, but I'm ready to do something.
Yeah, I just hit my 40, so I'm putting in a 3-day weekend starting tomorrow.
Hell
I'm very,
yeah.
very happy. So Big Kurt, you already mentioned you're an Eagles fan, so we know you live in Pennsylvania. Is that where you've always been from, or have bounced around any?
Yeah, I've been in the Philadelphia area for most of my life. Really, the only exception to that would have been college. I went to Penn State, so I was up in State College for a couple years, but it's been Pennsylvania for my whole life.
Nice.
That's not too far. You're in our area. What's bigger, Pennsylvania or New York?
Ooh, yeah, that is a good question.
Got to be New York. Pennsylvania's taller, but New York is like twice as wide, literally.
There's no way to know.
Well, Big Kevin will show us the picture of it next week. Oh God, the eye. Did you see where Kevin on the Discord like put New York State and South Dakota to kind of like give it a
I did see
perspective.
that.
And it was
Yeah.
relatively like it was basically three-quarters of South Dakota, and it was almost the full left to right, and like basically all of the basically like just like you took like a 45-degree angle and took out like the top like left corner. So it was damn near three-quarters of the state, but like its entire width and height at one point. But fucking Long Island had its dick up Iowa, and it was just the funniest fucking thing ever.
What are you
Uh,
doing to Iowa?
and then I think they put it in. I think they might have put. Oh, they put it in California too. And then Toby said, "Now you're getting me." 'Cause he's out in Arizona. So,
All
I
right,
thought that
so
was
Kevin,
hysterical.
do Ontario next. I want to see how big New York compares to Ontario. Anyway, there's enough hijacking our guests here.
Yeah. So back to the guest. So extremely new crew. What's one piece of merch that you've seen? I have you seen Kevin's all those spreadsheets that are all those pictures and Venn diagrams that Big Kevin post. So maybe between that and just what you've seen of people wear in person, and obviously on Discord and everything, just what's that one piece of merch that you're like, damn man, were they ever gonna bring that out of the backlog
If I
or
have
the
to,
vault that is?
if you give me one pick, like you get one piece of apparel and that's it, I want the Yeah Buddy shirt.
Yeah,
And
but
Yeah,
I know that one's never coming back, right?
yeah, no,
is
But
that the band one, the blurry one, is actually one of the ones I had to retire because it just doesn't fit anymore, and I
yeah,
hated that.
I
That's
pass
just
on the blurry.
like, well, yeah.
like I would really enjoy that because I say that all the time. I mean, like I'll say that before my lift sometimes. I say that to
Yeah,
like
buddy.
encourage other people sometimes. So that would probably be the one I would pick. But the breaking parallel stuff was really cool too.
Mhm.
The t-shirt and the shorts as well. And from what I hear, the design got retired on that one. So that one's definitely not coming back either.
Yeah, that was a cease and desist from Big Meth. They no, come on.
That was pretty good. It took me a second. I was like, wait, oh, I get it.
That one had levels. I retire. I'm giving up. Nathan,
Indeed.
you take over.
Uh, what about the let's hear the Hall of Fame status and supporting membership number?
So the supporting membership number is 445, which I know gets chuckles from a couple people
Oh,
just
nice.
because of how high that one is. Uh, the Hall of Fame status is funny because when we were in Crew Falls and we were at the sushi restaurant, I literally asked you, what is the Hall of Fame? And I'm really fortunate that you guys didn't treat me like a total noob or like, like a total poser.
Was I able?
So
Did I end up sending you a picture of it? I can't remember. I hope I did.
I don't think so. I think I
Oh,
came across one.
okay.
I don't know, maybe somewhere on the Discord or wherever. I
Yeah.
had a picture. I finally did ask for one in one of my recent orders. But if I'm looking down the list, I think at that day I think I was at one, and now I think I'm at six.
Nice.
I think
Knocked a
since
whole bunch up.
I've went to Crew Falls, I own a drink spotter. I think I own a piece of band merchandise because I have the crew only lift shorts that
Yep,
Yep,
came.
that's
that
count.
counts.
100%.
Yeah. So I think that obviously being on Unpaid and Underrated, my voice got on the Massonomics podcast, and I've posted a picture with another supporting member on IG. I posted a picture of that Christmas ornament.
Was that the one where we all posed in front of the big wreath?
Yeah.
What a stupid picture.
So yeah, I think I'm halfway home.
Hell
Nice.
yeah.
How far are you from Columbus? Is that something you would ever consider doing? The Arnold trip? That's got to be like 8 hours or something wild, isn't it? Because you're all the way
Glad
like
you
you couldn't
brought
be
that
any
up.
farther to the east.
I think
Yee.
I was like making
this
sure it wasn't west.
summer,
It was like
this summer I should be able to beef the numbers up as well and get like all the way up to 10, and I'll definitely get to 10 online orders really soon. So if everything lines up, if I go to the Arnold next year, that will be for my Hall of Fame silly.
oh, dope.
Why next year? What's away? Whoa. It's like 30 days away. You got tons of time to plan.
I wouldn't get the silly cup this year. So I'm just saying like
Oh, so you
next
are
year's
so you're
Arnold
you're signed up. You're coming back out to Aberdeen this July. Then it sounds like.
yeah.
Attaboy.
Heck yeah.
Nice. Have you done? Will this be your first powerlifting meet then, or have you done other sanctioned meets?
I've never even been to a meet. I've never been to a meet. I've never done a meet. So, I always wanted my first time to be special. So I'm hoping that the Lift Hard, Live Easy.
I don't, oh, geez. I don't know if I'd recommend that. Oh, wow.
But if that's the only meet you do, and you just either retire or come out every couple years and do
Yeah.
that, like
That's
don't
like,
do that, and then go to a local like USAPL meet and
it's
expect
like
to like
finding the
have the
world's best
same
roller coaster
environment.
and then going to some county fairs. Like,
Yeah, essentially.
like, I don't know if you want to do that, man.
I don't know. Scance told me he's jealous. Scance is like, I wish that I could relive it again for the
Yeah,
first
Yeah.
time. He's like, I'm
Yeah.
just
super jealous of what you're about to go
I
through.
would just do one first so that you could say, like, okay, I did this one and it was all right. And then you go to this one and you're like, it can be like this.
just the only advice I give, just understand like and just understand the rules, understand commands. Don't open too heavy because like you can bomb out and then you don't get a total, and then you fucking spend all that money to then not have a total, and then like that's not fun. Like they won't necessarily kick you out of the meet, but like all your lifts don't count, and it's just like meaningless in the grand scheme of like it being a total. It's still having the experience, but like you don't want to go home with that. So just literally open with something you can triple, and go from there. That's my advice.
Yeah, that's one thing I picked up already, kind of like how to start gauging what your three lifts are going to be, and really
Yeah.
that first one, making sure that that's one you're not going to screw up, and then taking like a decent jump on the second one, maybe even like having that be like the goal that you wanted to
Yep,
hit,
there's a lot of people
and
that do
then
that.
That's
and then the
that's
third.
usually what I do, except for the lift hard live easy is like my second lift is my PR, and then my third is fuck it, we'll try it. Like
Right.
that's how I've always done it. Except for at the lift hard live easy where I sandbagged my deadlift because I knew I was gonna finish first anyway. Um
There
As you
will
go.
be other
I
opportunities for me
hear
to
I
do
hear
meet.
that
I
about you.
just
ha 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 ha. Yeah, the last and also just a quick throwback, the last thing you want to do is bomb out your opener and then chirp me. We won't name any names, but somebody did that. It didn't.
ah
They said something about me being short. I was like, "Didn't you bomb your opener?" And they were like, "That crap, yeah, I did." And I was like, "Ah." Anyway, see ya.
Good stuff.
there's an opportunity for me to do a meet coming up in a couple weeks, like midway through March. I just have to stop being a cheap ass maybe and just do it.
Which
I
Fed?
mean, they're fun.
I think I did check out the Federation. I think it might be a USPL one actually at the gym that I go to.
USA.
Uh,
Do it. Just get it out of the way. Even if you fail it, then you'll know at least why. So then when you go to the lift hard, live easy, you'll know the commands, you'll know the timing and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I
They are
would say
expensive though.
don't let lift hard, live easy be lift hard, live 3Z be your first. It will ruin them. I'm retired now because I did lift hard, live easy and was like, I don't want to do anything other than this. Like this was the best meet ever.
so when I came out to Crew Falls, I was not necessarily planning to come out to the Lift Hard Live Easy.
Okay. You had
Yeah, I
made.
heard
It
this.
sounds like you made
I
up your
heard
decision
this.
about
Yeah.
But I got my arm twisted really easily into it. So
Yeah, it was a good rubber arm twist.
eh. I did have other plans for next summer in terms of things that I was going to pursue, but I was like, no, I'm going back to hang with these guys.
Yeah, it's a good time, and it's like, and I almost will say like Crew Falls is maybe even more fun though, just because it's like more chill. Like it's all like Lift Hard Live Easy almost it's almost overwhelming because it's like there's you're trying to coordinate with
Too much
70
structure.
people, not 30 people, and it's
Yeah.
just more it's more challenging to like
And we're going to be here at this time, and then we're going to be at weigh-ins, and then we're going to be here at this time, and then like I can see that
but
having
they're
done
both are
both.
great, but Crew Falls like yeah, I don't know, Crew Falls is awesome. I would if something
And
happened and I could only do one, like I would be hard pressed to not do Crew Falls, but obviously Lift Hard would probably still edge it out. But
as crazy as it seems that I just up and came to Crew Falls without having met anyone or really kind of like established a rapport with anyone, that's kind of the feeling that I had. I was like, this will be cool. Like everybody's just hanging out for a weekend and I'll get to meet a bunch of crew members
100%.
in no kind of pressure situation.
Yeah.
A powerlifting meet coming up
Yeah. And
this summer.
we welcomed you with arms wide open.
with arms wide open.
Actually, there was a fun thing I should have brought up during the general topics. I visited Big Steve Certified Gym, the Moving Mountains,
Yeah,
recently.
so he got some new equipment.
Yeah, and he's like I said, certified again. So decided to head on down there, and we were talking about the move from the Odie to the Ramkota.
Ramkata.
And well, it's Ramkota.
Coda. Sarah
It's
Cody.
it's in South Dakota, not South
Oh,
Dakota.
is that what it actually
It's got to be. I
is? It
refuse
like
to see it any other
Ramada,
way.
That
like
makes
Ramada
sense.
in Dakota, like Rama.
Yeah, it's got to be Ramkota, like because we're in South Dakota. Like anyway, and
Yeah.
we're all happy because we've done 2 years in the hottest ice arena in the world.
Uh-huh.
And you know what Steve said to me? When are people like us ever going to have a chance to perform in an arena again?
Oh wow.
That's true.
And I'm like, damn it, Steve. Like, that is a credible perspective that I never considered. And I thought that that was really important to bring up and let everybody else hear is that he had that very important perspective is, yeah, it was hot. Yeah, the beer was cheap. Like everything was, we had our ups and downs there, but he's right. And wanted to put that out there. Ramcota is going to be incredible, but I wanted to recognize Steve for saying something that completely changed my perspective.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, if they had it in like fucking April or November or October, well, I guess you can't because it's literally hockey season, so it
Yeah.
has to kind of so
But
that
like,
makes
yeah, like even when
it
it
wouldn't be
rains, the
available.
rain was hot. Like, fuck that. Like,
Yeah, it was so bad. All right, we'll move this along a little bit. So, Big Kurt, I have this game that I've apparently poorly explained a couple times. So, it's called Least Fun, Most Fun. So, I need you to tell me the least fun thing about this topic, as well as the most fun thing about this topic, not either or. So, your topic this week, my friend, coaching baseball, least fun, most fun.
Least fun is the fact that we are a quote unquote spring sport. When you're coaching high school baseball, not counting any of the off season stuff, games and practices and outdoor activities and all start in March. And you guys are in the quote unquote Northeast. Joe, you're up in Ontario, and Keith in Rochester, so you guys know what the weather's like at that time of year. So just kind of being outside, like in the middle of a field with nothing really blocking the wind, and sometimes there might be a little bit of rain or whatever, plus the cold, and just kind of standing around for a couple hours watching kids play baseball can be, yeah, that experience can kind of suck. uh Most fun is when things start to get pretty competitive and things start heating up, and you see some of your players getting better over the course of the season. By the time you get to like late April and May and the games really mean something and they're super competitive, that's a whole hell of a lot of fun. And it adds a completely new element to my job that I don't know if we're getting into that yet,
yeah,
but
Yeah, we can roll it right. We can roll right into it if you want.
we'll do it live.
So yeah, I am a high school teacher, and so like this is just like another way that I can kind of like help the community that I work for. And so when the school year kind of drags on and everybody's kind of ready for summer vacation, I mean, here I am in like April and May, like I said, and there's like a whole hell of a lot of fun to be had as the season's really starting to literally and figuratively heat up. So I would say that that's the most fun is when things really get rolling.
Nice. What is your like an assistant coach? What's your what position do you hold on the is it varsity JV? What are you coaching?
So I'm the head JV coach, which makes me an assistant coach. Really,
Yep. No, I got you.
we work pretty well together, all the varsity coaches, and
Hmm.
I'm technically the only JV coach. So when it comes time for games, it's me by myself. But
Gotcha.
when we practice, it's everybody all together.
Okay,
Which
so it sounded like just like that's how football was, So that's my main experience with that. So yeah, there was one guy that was the JV coach and had to basically go do it all by himself, but he was still like the tight ends coach or something and like the defensive ends coach. So like he still had a role on the varsity team, and it was just you took everyone that wasn't the starter and basically went and played like 8 JV games a year or something.
Yeah, come practice time, I generally work with the outfielders, and then like when we have to split up for batting practice or something like that, I'll take my guys and work with them, and then the varsity coaches just kind of do their thing. So it can be a lot to juggle if you got like 18, 19 guys on the team, and it's just you there.
Yeah.
But it I'm glad that I'm not just being tortured there, and that's kind of the format that it is for a lot of coaches.
How many years you been in that role?
Yeah, man, this is going to be 13.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I started at this school 13 years ago, and like literally the month I started, they had a posting for an assistant coach, and I just said, "Screw it! I mean, absolutely, I should look for something to get involved with besides just being a boring English teacher." And so I inquired about it, and they took me on, and were able to kind of teach me everything gradually to where now I can run a team myself come game day.
It's awesome.
All right. Skirt. So,
I got that.
do you also do the strength training portion for them? Because, like, I want to hear a little bit about your lifting because we know that you were a big cardio guy, which you might have to explain to some of us because a lot of us don't understand that.
Cardio.
Yeah. And then, like, do you also do coaching in that sense for the kids, or do they have their own kind of athletic training? So, can you double answer that question? Give us your lifting history and talk about how it helps you coach kids.
All right. So if I'm talking for too long, then please like stop me here. But
There's a
Never.
podcast. We're good.
Yeah, we were going to 11 o'clock.
so yeah, for years I was doing pretty much cardiovascular exercise as like the form of training that I did. So I was doing a lot of long distance running. A couple of the other guys that I work with, we were all playing basketball before school a couple days a week, and lifting weights wasn't really part of my routine, which I kind of shudder when I think about a time in my life when I didn't have that. But then about let's say like 2016 or so, my knee was really starting to bother me. My knees were getting like shot to shit. So I went to physical therapy for it, and I didn't know how to squat, like period. Like it was never something that I did. Like when I was younger, my buddies and I, you bench press and you curl and you just do all the mirror muscles and stuff like that. Nobody ever focused on leg day. So I kind of learned the importance of doing the posterior chain movements and really incorporating that into your training then. I started picking up more stuff, started getting into dumbbell stuff, started making sure that I was putting in some strength training along with everything that I was doing running wise for the next couple years after that. And then I don't know, I want to say 2019 was probably the moment when everything changed. I ran my first and only half marathon. I did the Philly half marathon, and that was an awesome experience. But at the end of it, it was like, where do you go from here? Are you going to keep doing this, or are you going to work towards running a whole marathon? I mean, the thought of doing what I had done twice in one race was way too much for me to take. I'm like, I'll be running for damn near 4 hours. That's torture. Like, so I didn't really want to go that way. That was kind of when I decided that I was going to get more into strength training instead. And that's when I really started focusing on the barbell lifts. So I started doing my research on YouTube mostly. And I came across this gruff dude from Texas who said that you really only have to do 5 lifts,
Fives.
progressively overload to get stronger. And I just started really eating up all that information and started really getting into that. I'm like, this is awesome. All I have to do is squat and bench and press and deadlift. This is great. So I started getting into that, and then the world got turned on its head in 2020, and so it was tough to get to the gym at that point. I'm
with
still
everything
not,
going on.
unfortunately. So yeah, back then that would have really been advantageous. So again, I started really doing my research into it. So by the time the gyms like were opening back up again, I kind of started devoting myself solely to that, and running and really all the long distance steady state cardio stuff really kind of fell off the map for me. And now I just focus on getting bigger and getting stronger. uh it was right around that same time, so let's say like 21, 22. The coaching staff all kind of got together and said, like, how can we start delegating responsibilities off? Like, how can like certain people just handle certain elements? I was getting really into strength training, so the coaching staff was like, dude, do you just want to like take that? Do you just want to like make that kind of like the thing that you oversee? And I said, hell yes, I would love to. The problem is that when I say, like, listen, what you need to do is make sure you eat enough and you squat and you press and you deadlift all in the same workout, not everybody's really receptive to that.
Mhm.
There's a lot of quote unquote conventional thought that says that maybe that's not the best way to go about it, or the thought of putting on body weight along with muscle is scary to some people. So I kind of make my peace with that, and players are given a little bit of autonomy in terms of what they're going to do for their training. I'm there to make sure that they don't kill themselves, and inevitably when they do have questions and ask me about things, I can kind of pepper in the right information for them. So for the past couple of years, I've kind of been overseeing that for the team and kind of grown that reputation with the guys, and that's been really cool. Again, like just like another like thing for me to kind of connect with them with.
So okay, so you definitely got into the blue book. Do you find the blue book has helped you train kids? Like, I got into the blue book. I actually started lifting on my own. Steve showed me a couple things and then I self-taught. Then I got into the blue book. It helped me squat without injury and without pain. It did not fix my bench. My bench is still trash. And I don't think that's a technique thing anymore. I think it's just I hate bench. And but like, are you using that at all with these guys?
I advocate for it. So like when we start every off season, I teach those lifts, and like I explain mechanically how to do those lifts. Inevitably, like I said, they are kind of given their own choice in terms of like what their training is going to be.
Yeah.
Checking in with us and stuff. And I got to say that like they don't do the program. And again, I think I saw a video one time where I think it was Robert Santana, one of those SSC guys. He said, like, you have to accept the fact that you're training in a way that only a very small percentage of the population is willing to do.
Yeah.
So to expect a lot of other people to do that is you're going to drive yourself crazy instead. So to answer your first question about the blue book, I think one of the most valuable parts of it is being able to mechanically explain the lifts,
Yeah.
and explain the way that your body works. So while the programming does work, being able to tell people the way the lifts work, I think, is the real gold there. And I think,
And that was more important for me than the programming itself.
yeah,
Was, barbell straight up and down, your knees here, that kind of thing. And that's ultimately what I was thinking. But it's kind of weird that kids would be like, I don't want to gain weight. And, at the same time, I tell the story all the time. I didn't know you could just get bigger. I didn't know that was an option. I started lifting and tried to maintain size and body weight until somebody in the Discord, Big Alex, was like, you could just get bigger. And then I was like, you can do that? Like, you can just choose to get bigger? And obviously, I'm not a big guy. Like, you've met me in person, but like, I'm still twice, probably like, I look like I ate myself.
it's what are you willing to do? Are you willing to have that period where like maybe you don't look the way that you ideally want to look because you're in a caloric surplus at that point,
Yeah.
but it's for a greater good. And you know I, not to get preachy here, I'm sorry, but like like we live in a world of like immediate gratification. Like you want it now. You want the result now. You don't want to have to go through this process that's going to have periods in it that are less than ideal instead. So like you got to do the program, you got to eat enough, and
Yeah.
then you just got to train to get to where you want to be.
I'm never gonna fail a lift. Well, then you're not lifting heavy enough.
No.
Right? Like that's kind of the way I view it.
I talked
Yeah.
to my buddies recently. I'm like, why is it still that every time I'm coming in here to squat, I'm scared?
Yeah,
Like,
because you should be.
and he's like, that
Yeah,
that
like
means that you're doing it right.
400
Yeah,
pounds
that's
can
the
fucking kill you, let alone like three, two. I mean, like any amount. Like I think, yeah, squatting is fucking dangerous as shit. If you don't have,
I would say I think I maybe I read that a bit differently. And sometimes with Juggernaut, I'll look at my next day, right? Because I lift every other day, and it'll be like you're doing this much weight for this many reps. In my head, I'm going like, no, I can't. Like I've never done that. That's way too much. And that's what I think you were responding to there is like, I'm like, no, I'm going to hurt myself. I'll get my
Yeah.
wife down to spot me. I'll have the spotter arms up and it'll fly like paper. And then, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, yeah, sometimes you're scared of that lift. And if you're, like I said, if you've never failed a lift, I don't think you've ever tried.
Hell no. Are you guys both like every other day guys as far as your training?
4 days a week is ideal. 3 days is usually when it ends up happening. I end up having to cut an accessory day, but like I minimum three. Like so, if I'm in a deload this week for my strongman show tomorrow, Saturday. So like I didn't really do shit because I'm also trying to nurse a fucking back injury. But yeah, I've been 4 to 3. In the last decade, I probably spent 70% doing 4 days and the other percent doing 3 days a week. But I've never not done 3 days a week at minimum.
Yeah. Yeah. With my work schedule, I'm probably at 4 days every 7 days. Right. So I would say that Juggernaut thinks I'm doing Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm probably more likely doing Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. But and even then sometimes it'll be like I'll Thursday and then I won't do it again until Monday, but I'll do that fourth day on Monday and reset the week. Um, and sometimes you just skip them. Like I was on vacation this week and I was like, I'm hungover. I'm not fucking benching today. And I just skipped that day. Like it was, I understand that some people take it more serious than I do, but
So
If I'm feeling under the weather, I think maybe the one I can convince myself to go in and do the work on is benching.
yeah, for sure.
same. Actually, that's the one where I'm gonna do it no matter what.
I'll bench sick
Yeah, deadlifts are the one
or
where
it hurt.
I think I went in earlier this week and I had a pressure headache because it was Friday, the day that storm hit us.
Oh.
And I was hungover, I was tired, and I was fairly certain I was getting sick. And I went in and I did the overhead press. And then I was like, all right, it's time to deadlift. And I did like the first set and like I felt the back of my neck feel like it was gonna pop. And I was like, you know what? We're just done. We're just done this today. God, I missed.
Um, let's see. So you got a whole list of nicknames. I don't even.
I
Where's
mean,
my?
I dropped one already.
Yep.
Okay.
Skirt, yeet,
Oh
yeah, yeah. Drop that.
I'm guessing you did you lose your house key a few times? Is there a reason why? Where's my house key? Is that a?
'Cause it
Is
sounds
that
like
a
his last
Yeah.
name.
You,
oh, der. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Or
my last name, it gives
yeah.
all kinds of opportunities for nicknames, and that's one
That's funny.
that I got when I was
That's really
really
funny.
young, and even after like I moved to a completely different town, even after I moved out of Philadelphia, like somehow that name came with me. I don't even know like how it got passed around. This was back in the '90s, way before the age of the internet. So yeah, my last name provides all kinds of opportunities in that regard.
I see. I see. I see. That makes sense. Because now that I like go back and read them, I was like, oh yeah, that's
Mike
there's.
Wazowski is another one that came up a couple of times. Um, a fun thing I love hitting with. Do you speak any Polish at all?
No,
Okay, so
I mean just
there
like
there's a way to say cheers or to good health, which is
that's
Nostrovia.
that's that's not trophy. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I have a couple Polish friends. So whenever we're drinking together, I say nice driveway before I cheers them. A nice driveway. And they're just like, fuck, I hate every time you do that. I'm like, yeah, you do.
Yeah, that might be the limit of it for me.
Yeah.
That and I used to call my grandmother and my grandfather Babci and Jaji.
See, I don't even know that one. My last name is crazy Polish, and I don't even know that one. Except
Yeah.
it doesn't have an I. People get really surprised at that.
I did think that there was a chance your last name is Polish. I didn't want to assume. I figured it was some kind of Eastern European, but
No, it's insanely Polish. It's actually the first prince of Poland had my last name, but with an I. So he would have been Mieczki, and I'm Mieczko. And there's actually a candy out of Poland that is terrible. It's a chocolate covered marshmallow. It's called because my last name is like I'm giving fodder to the Discord crew here. My last name is what you would give the nickname to a child's milk. Right. So like when you have like your baba or
yeah.
that's what you would call miachko. So miachko ptazi is bird's milk technically.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was gonna start calling you titty milk, but I guess
Dude.
it's okay. It's PG-13.
Number one urban podcast.
That still cracks me up still.
But
It
yeah,
is- yeah, it's my favorite.
Mike Wazowski gets good laughs every year too. The first time I bring that up, that always wows the crowds too.
Have you ever dressed as Mike Wazowski?
Oh no,
Mm.
no, that's a really good idea though.
Just show up to a party dressed as Mike Wazowski.
Halloween's a big deal in my family. My brother was born on Halloween, so we always
Same.
do it for that.
Yeah.
I don't know
Whoa.
who that is. I don't.
Wow.
I'm sure as soon as you say it might register, but at the top of
From
my
Monsters Inc. Green guy with the one eye.
I've never seen it in my life.
Uh,
I'm not a child. I don't have children, and I wasn't a child when that came out.
It's tough. I know.
I'm fucking almost 40, and I've never had kids. So why would I watch a movie? I've
Because
the
that
amount
movie came out 20 years ago, and my kids are
Okay.
5.
That's
Like,
fine.
at least I recognize good movies.
I was still 25. Yeah, I wouldn't have watched a cartoon as a 20-year-old. An animated.
I was gonna say I can guarantee you've watched cartoons in the last 5 years.
I have, but the amount of out of the 100 animated movies that have come out in the last 20 years, I've seen like 5 of them, and that is not one of them. But
It just so happened that was coming out like as I was starting teaching, so it was perfect storm, and it just hit.
Perfect Storm, good movie.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
It was.
No, it wasn't. Was that George Clooney?
It also is part of the nostalgia factor you were mentioning with music, because I vividly remember watching that movie with my mom in like 1998 or something.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
That was,
So like
yeah.
I have like a theater memory experience with my mother watching that movie as a like 10-year, 12-year-old or something.
That's actually a thing I learned in communications and stuff like that, is people don't actually remember facts. We only remember how we feel about when we heard them.
Yeah.
Or how we feel about the experience. That's like a common thing our brain does to store memories.
You don't miss a place, you miss a time.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
All right. Time for a poop story. What happened at Power Build?
Oh, that was
and there's another one supposedly. So
what?
I heard you have multiple poop stories. So
yeah, I thought that was necessary on this show.
I mean, I like them. I think they're funny.
I just thought it was a good segue because I have to pee.
There you go. I'll fill you in later.
Ew.
That's not what
I think Joey's favorite lift is deadlifting, and that's my favorite lift as well. Just primarily because of the way that I'm built. It's the most advantageous lift for me. So I've got these long ass arms. So it's been the one that I've been able to get decent numbers on the quickest. So I enjoy it, but there's a lot of dangers with deadlifting, including if you brace hard enough and you're pulling enough weight, I think you know what's probably going to happen.
Your nose bleeds.
So
strain your back. I strain my back all the time, deadlift.
I don't have a weak back, so I've never done that.
If you're
oh, you guys couldn't see Keith's face.
What are you talking about? I don't wear my emotions on my face.
if he could have slapped me right there through the screen, he was gonna do it.
I've been having back problems for fucking 20 years.
I know. I'm sorry, Kurt, to interrupt you there, but that was really funny. If there was ever a face that said "fuck you, dude," that was the one you just made.
Yes, very much.
Sorry, continue your story, sir.
Well, if you do follow the programming in the blue book, at least you end on deadlifting. So that was my work set of deadlifting, and I got the hell out of there as quick as I possibly could afterwards and hit the showers as soon as I got home.
Oh, so you had to waffle stomp, did you?
Yep.
So did you consider changing the name of the book to the brown book there for a minute?
They're pretty dogmatic down there, so I don't know how receptive they are to the outside input, but I mean, certainly it's applicable there.
That's good stuff. Was there another one that tops that? Or you think you had referenced there being 2? Someone else had mentioned that one.
There's one, so had I got put on the spot and said, you gotta give your poop story, this was probably going to be the one that I went with. So whenever I'm traveling, and I guess this happens for a lot of people too, you get kind of out of sorts and you get out of your routine. And so like one of the things that can go with that is your regular movements and all.
Absolutely.
So we were traveling in Montana a couple years ago, and the way my wife and I have done it, like we try to like segment our vacation. So like we'll do one part maybe in like a more remote area, whether it's like in the mountains or at the beach or whatever. And then another time, we'll try to check out one place that's a little bit more urban. And Montana doesn't have a
Urban
ton of
podcast.
urban areas. But we were in Missoula, and Missoula is a college town. It's where the University of Montana is.
Mhm.
And certainly compared to the rest of the area around there, it's a little bit more socially progressive, let's say. So the one morning, my wife and I went out to get coffee at this one coffee shop, which all the people working there and all the decor on the wall said that it was a very, like I said, socially progressive type of shop. So the two of us walk in there, and with me being who I am, like it's almost like I'm there, but it's like I better watch my step. Like, I'm there, but I better not cause any trouble kind of thing.
Mhm.
So we're there and we're having breakfast and we're having coffee. And like naturally, like that's the time when my body decides, like, yep, it's time to go take a horrendous shit. So I go into the bathroom in this place and I'm in there probably for about like 7 minutes and just like completely crush this place. And when I come out, I can literally feel every eye on that place in me, like right on me. And I got back to the table and I said to my wife, I'm like, everybody in here knows what just happened. She's like, uh-huh, for sure. I'm like, we got to get the hell out of here, don't we? She's like, yes, we do. Now.
That's great.
However much money you have for a tip, leave it and let's get the hell out of here. So sometimes it just happens at like literally the most disadvantageous time.
Yeah, I gotta be in like an hour and a half from here at like 8 o'clock on Saturday morning and potentially carpool with a couple of the guys. So I'm not really looking forward to that. I might literally just drive alone so I don't have to be like, all right, this is my morning stop now. It's like, because I don't know when, I can't plan it. It just kind of happens. So I'm not looking forward to that. Good stuff. I always love a good poop story. So you didn't break any. I still. We've had some bangers. Like I want to like eventually like one day we'll do like a Mount Rushmore of the poop stories we've had on here because there's been some good ones. Think there's I just it's
I,
they're universally funny. I don't care what anyone's.
I see a story dear to my heart. Um, Now I'm pretty stupid. Like I'll give everybody that, right? I can be pretty ignorant and stupid sometimes, and I eat a lot of hot stuff. I love ghost peppers. Like ghost pepper hot sauce is kind of like where I settle. If I'm like, how hot is that? They're like ghost pepper. I'm like, yeah, give me that. And anything above that, I'm usually kind of iffy. Why would you do anything sillier?
Stupid ignorance. That's why I think I know the story that you're referring to.
Yeah, yeah, I want to hear this.
Just even thinking about it, like I feel like I'm going back to a really, really scary place. So I thought that I was well versed when it came to hot peppers and hot sauce and that whole culture, but apparently not. Because this very sweet old woman who I work with has a pretty good garden, and she grows all kinds of stuff, including insanely hot peppers. So, like past ghost peppers, she grows scorpion peppers and reaper peppers as well. So she found out that I like hot stuff. So out of the kindness of her heart, she gave me a couple of each. She gave me a couple scorpion peppers and a couple reaper peppers. I had no idea what I had my hands on. I didn't know that what I had was hotter than hell. So there was one afternoon. God, when was this? This probably would have been like 4 years ago or so. My wife and I were going to go out for an afternoon walk. But before I did it, I said, hey, I'm going to try one of these peppers that Miss Deb gave me. And so I pick a Carolina Reaper pepper out of the bag and I just eat the whole thing.
Oh my God, dude. Okay.
And like the fire started probably, I don't know, after 7 seconds or so. And I knew, I'm like, okay, this is insanely hot. And then it just got worse and worse and worse. And for the next 3.5 to 4 hours, I was just pretty much in the fetal position. And I felt that thing go through my entire digestive
Mm-hmm.
system. I felt it going down my
Moves like a
esophagus,
brick, a hot brick.
just like a fireball,
Yeah.
like just like literally making its way through my system. That was one of the most painful experiences of my life. I,
Sorry you had to go
I'm
through that.
lucky nothing worse happened to me afterwards.
Like I can't like that can't be good for your like your digestive system. Like that has to cause some like
It'll
just
scar you up. It'll leave scar tissue.
well,
They
I mean
can tell.
also like the you how are your movements after that for like the days following? Like that can't be. Does it just run
the
right? Like I imagine you just have liquid shits for a week. Like that's got to be. I
the
don't know.
next
Or does it just
morning,
all stay in your face and like esophagus and all that?
No,
Like I don't know
no,
how that would work. It
no.
actually goes through your.
when
Ugh.
I was talking with a couple of my colleagues the next morning, and not about that, just about something random, like it became like apparent, like just in the middle of the conversation, I'm like, I have to go right now. Like I have to end this conversation right now.
Yeah.
And I went, and it wasn't painful or anything, but it emptied everything inside of me.
Yeah.
There you go. That's actually not a bad thing, I guess. But
Yeah.
you
So I was lucky in that regard.
want to hit a little? You ready for a little FMK there, Kurt? Is this one I gotta explain as well? I can real quick. So three topics. You got to rank them essentially one, two, and three to some extent. Which one you wanna F, which one you wanna marry, which one you wanna kill. So
Yeah, I got it.
FMK specifically for you this week. If one doesn't land, I'll go with the second one, but I think this will work. So I hear you like some mobster movies. So I picked three of my well, I wouldn't say three of my favorite. At least my favorite is in here out of the genre, and then I took probably the two most popular. So we'll see how it goes. FMK: A Bronx Tale, Godfather, Goodfellas. FMK. Are you familiar with all three of those?
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay, good.
Oh, hell yeah.
A Bronx
All right.
Tale is a little.
So
Not as many people know about that one, but I think it's
there was when I was younger, I would have answered this question a little bit differently, and I probably would have tossed Bronx Tale out. But as I've gotten older, I think I've grown to appreciate Bronx Tale a little bit more. Like getting to know like a little bit more about the actors who were in there. Like I forget the kid's name, who's the
yeah, collagen. Oh, the human actor, like he ended up like doing all
yeah,
kinds of stupid shit and being in
yeah.
trouble, and then he was on Sopranos for a minute, but I don't know what he's done or if he's back in trouble again. But I know he had like addiction issues, I believe.
Yeah, and I think like did something like really stupid, like I think like shot at a cop or
That's
something like
fucking
that. But like I don't know, but like if you take like that human interest aspect to it, and Chaz Palminteri's the man, and it was like a really good story. I think I'm gonna f that one.
cool.
I think I'm gonna f that one, and this is gonna be a really hot take. I think I'm marrying Goodfellas and I think I'm killing the Godfather off, which just seems like sacrilegious, but that's that's what I would probably end up doing just because I've seen Goodfellas so many times. I've enjoyed Goodfellas so much. There's also kind of like so I'm marrying one and I think I'm getting rid of the Godfather.
That's fair. I don't. I
Yeah,
know
that's
it's
fair.
it's like one of the best, one of the highly rated movies or whatever. But I don't know. It was okay. I
It's like
I enjoyed the 10 episode movie series where it was basically about making The Godfather better than I watched The Godfather. That was on if you haven't I can't remember exactly what the hell that was called at the top of my head, but oh shit.
it, I mean, obviously, it's a really good movie. It is super long. I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing
No, I
about
don't
it,
mind long
but
movies. I just
it's I don't know. Like I haven't related to that one as much as the other two.
nice. And I do love that you didn't. I was afraid you were gonna kill Bronx Tale, but I'm glad you didn't because like to like literally the trick. I think I've mentioned it before. Like the where you unlock the passenger seat, let the girl in, and then like if
Yeah,
she doesn't unlock the other side, she's not worth it. And like I've never had I don't own my daily driver has never had automatic lock, so that still resonates with me because I unlock my car manually every day. So I will always remember that. And I did that so much in high school when I like was on first dates and stuff. It was like that movie is just great. I love that movie.
that's awesome.
Good stuff. Well, that one landed, so I wasn't there was a bunch of other ones submitted. Now I was gonna hit you with basically like we can probably do it real quick. So FMK, Celtics, Braves, Cowboys.
Ow.
You don't really have to explain this one too much because we'll keep it to
Ouch.
under a minute or two.
Oh my
I want to move on,
God.
but I know you should hate all these teams, but you have to hate one slightly less.
All right. Well, mm,
I knew this was going to get a good reaction.
fucking
That's fine. You've already technically done your FMK, so if you don't have basically if you don't see any positives in any of the teams to answer, then I
no,
guess you don't have to.
I'm not going to dodge it. I'm going to say this. All right. I am going to marry the Braves because there's stuff that I can respect about them. I'm going to F the Celtics and forget that night ever happened because hate it or love it, they're pretty damn good at what they do. And I'm going to unmercifully kill the Cowboys.
Nice. Good deal.
Unmercifully.
I'm glad I could put you on the hot seat with that one,
Dude, that was hard.
Ah. Good stuff. Well, I can't make it always like pick your favorite out of three things you really like. It's like pick your favorite out of three things you fucking hate. Like that's gonna be my new curveball. Good deal. You got a Mount Rushmore for him, Joey?
Yeah. I just have a question. If we're gonna do Mount Rushmore of comedian, do you want to do actors or stand up?
Can they have done both?
Obviously, most of them do.
All right. It's probably going to be more about their stand up than it is.
Okay. So Mount Rushmore stand up comedian.
Dangerfield's my favorite.
Hmm.
I still find myself YouTubing his stuff all the time, and I can like uncontrollably laugh at his stuff. Self-depreciation, I think, is like the top form of comedy. Like you know that you can get away with a lot there. Shows that you don't take yourself too seriously. So Dangerfield's the king, in my opinion. I've watched enough Seinfeld for enough people to last a lifetime. So I definitely have to throw Jerry in there. Um, I've read one of Seinfeld's books when I was a kid and actually was laughing out loud at the book that he read just because I could like hear the tone of his voice. And I actually got in trouble at school because we were supposed to be reading silently and I was reading his book and I was laughing too hard
It's
out
funny.
loud. So I'm putting Seinfeld in there too. I'm gonna have to probably put Eddie Murphy in there because his like all the early stuff that he did, like with Raw and God, the other one's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't think of it right now. Delirious. That one was timeless. And I got to pick one more. I'm gonna end up screwing this up, and I'm gonna forget somebody. Does Chris Farley count? Can I throw him in there?
I mean, if you're sticking to stand up, I don't think I could name a stand up that he did.
No, me neither. That's why I'm saying like, can I kind of like bridge it all together? Like I'm just trying to think of like people whose stuff that I've laughed at the hardest. Let's put Adam Sandler in there too,
Yeah,
probably.
that'll work. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, because just I mean the amount of times my buddies and I have quoted his movies, he probably belongs on there too.
Yeah, all right. Well, that's your Mount Rushmore. I had wrestlers and 90s rappers as well. I mean, we get enough wrestling talk on here. Do you want to do wrestlers? Do you care enough about it that you want to throw it my way?
I think that's too easy, and
Yeah.
I'm saving that one.
Okay. Heard chef. Heard chef. All right. Well, then that's your Mount Rushmore.
We
I
got
think we
one
could.
more.
You
I
go
do
ahead,
one
buddy.
story and we can go to unpaid. So that's one thing that stuck out to me that made me chuckle, and I want to hear if it resonates with you at all. If you have any stories that can go along with it. So one of the things that was submitted was just a simple sentence. Kurt is a horrible secret keeper. So you've obviously done someone wrong and ran your mouth or something over the years, maybe, or what is this something you're aware of that you're a horrible secret keeper, or and also don't ask me who submitted it because we had like you actually legitimately I think hit a PR on people that submitted the questionnaire because I had like I'd have to go back. It was over 8 and usually I get like 4 and ideally like 4 is the minimum. to
Dude,
get
that
enough
that's
to get enough quality information to pull from. So
That's outstanding because I reached out to a couple work friends and a couple like personal friends and family members as well. And you had said like get ready. There's going to be people that don't reply
yeah.
to it, but that's awesome because
The
I
one thing that
think
was funny is I'm not sure if you explained it to him wrong or they interpreted it wrong because I think at least two or three people thought you were going to be on the Mastronomics podcast based off of some of the submitted information. It's like they referenced us talking about Mitsubishi Eclipses. I'm pretty sure that was the sister podcast, and also referencing like how they're coming out to South Dakota to see us. Which I mean, yes, but they meant more for the podcast. So anyway, as far as the horrible secret keeping, is there anything funny there?
it's like one of my defining personality traits. I just
Can't tell you
I say
anything.
all the time that I would be the worst poker player. So like I don't gamble. As much sports as I watch, I don't gamble on sports because I never win. And so to add that extra element of stress in, I'm just not going to do it. And I don't really play cards because again, like I would have the worst tells in the world. Like I wear my emotions on my sleeve, and it's a joke that like people say like it's never really hard to tell how I'm feeling just because it's like a parent there. So it's been it's been kind of passed around that like if there's anything that you're going to tell me, like don't count on me just like solely keeping that to myself. i I think I know who did say that, and I if it's the person who I think, she told me that she told me that she was pregnant and that I couldn't tell anyone about it. That
Oh no.
I had to keep that a secret from everyone who we work with, and I did.
There you
And,
go.
for months, like I actually like was able to kind of control myself, which is like a new development for me. Like to something that personal, like something that
Yeah, that'll yeah, that'd be a bad one.
really upset like I actually did like keep that. So like I said to her like when it finally did come out because she was like showing so much, I was like you realize how much I love you, right? Like for me to have like not told people about this was absolutely killing me, especially like when a couple people started asking me about
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
it, and I still was like, oh, well, you'd have to talk to her about it. I'm not really sure. So it it's something that I'm working on.
Little boy. Now, I guess wait, I want to hijack this for a little side rant. Well, not even a rant, just more of a poll. So like I think that like telling your wife doesn't count though, right? Like I gotta give a fuck. Like I'm gonna tell my wife everything. Like I can't think of a thing I wouldn't tell my wife like in this world. So if someone tells me a secret, unless it I guess pertains to her, to somebody that wouldn't, you know what I mean? Like like what you were just saying. Like I'm sure you told your wife like that day your friend was pregnant. Like and
Yeah,
that doesn't count as long as. But then the negative of that is like then it's you have to know that that person is trustworthy not to then spill the beans. So I kind
right.
of I guess I would select it, but I wouldn't say I selectively tell her stuff, but like anything I would tell her that could get us in trouble if it was, we ran our mouths essentially. I just have to be like, put that caveat of like, don't. But I guess essentially just the whole like, I don't think it's really, I think every couple that's been together long enough, like, if your buddy tells you something and says, "Hey, don't tell anybody," like you're gonna tell your wife that same day, just
Mhm.
because you're bored and you want to have something to talk about. I can't
Me
imagine them.
being who I am, I'm like, I'm gonna tell Andrea this, right? Like
Yeah, yeah,
like that, and they're like, yes, yeah, I get that. Like that tends to be the reply that I get.
that makes
Like, oh, absolutely, you're gonna tell your wife, but nobody.
Yeah,
gotcha.
there I have a rule that there assume everybody you tell is going to tell two people.
Yeah,
That's just the rule. I use it at work, I use it in my home life. Assume everybody you tell is going to tell two people. Right? So even if you tell somebody don't tell anybody, they're still going to tell their cat or their wife. Like they're going to tell fucking somebody, right? So
yeah.
all right, do a little unpaid and underrated.
Yeah, you got a whole
Oh,
list here. I'll cherry pick three and see what's left
I
for you,
spent
and we
an
might.
hour building this list.
Good. Well, you didn't tell me anything was off limits, so I'll pick my three that resonate with me the most. So, Big Kurt, Unpaid or underrated is a relatively new game we play here. Similar to some other games that some other podcasts may or may not play, ours is specifically called unpaid or underrated. So you're going to get one topic and you have to decide with druthers if it's unpaid, which means not so great, or if it's underrated, which means it's pretty awesome. So your first topic of up to 6 to 8 will be trap bar deadlifts.
Fun.
Why is that?
They do suck.
A nice
So
variety.
you guys were asking me earlier about whether or not like the kids who I coach follow the programming. I teach them how to conventional deadlift, and then 99% of them within weeks, or if not like a month, end up just exclusively trap bar deadlifting, and every time it breaks. It's I understand. I understand that there are some valid uses for a trap bar. Like I get that it was created for a reason that's valid, but to totally take deadlifting out of your program in favor of that drives me insane.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's definitely not what people think it is. Because I tell people all the time, like, what are you doing that for? Well, it's going to build my deadlift. No, it's not. It's going to build your squat. What are you doing to build your deadlift? Right? So I personally love my trap bar, but I use it as a squat accessory. If
Mm-hmm.
I can't squat that day, I'm going to trap bar. Right? Like if my back is bugging me or something like that, then I'll pick up the trap bar. But I never put that in place of a deadlift. It doesn't make sense to me.
Like I'm bringing my personal stuff into there. Obviously, we had a kid a couple years ago pull 700 on a trap bar, and
Yeah.
that was flipping awesome.
Yeah, that is pretty incredible.
That happened. Like, I'm not going to discredit that one bit, but like I said, most of them won't conventional deadlift because they say it's going to hurt their back, and the trap bar won't.
And then just tell them what I told Keith.
Mm-hmm.
It'll hurt my back. Not if you have a strong back, it won't.
All right. Unpaid or underrated Phil Collins.
Underrated,
Yeah.
underrated, and
You
I
like a
had
little
to
air in the night?
defend recently. Guy I work with who is a musician who fancies himself to be like a music expert talked about him as being a joke and talked about Genesis as being the worst band of all time. I have three ringtones on my phone. I have Billy, Don't You Lose My Number, because my brother's Billy. I have You'll Be in My Heart for my mom, and Easy Lover for my wife, Andrea. Phil Collins is my guy.
I'm sorry. This dude said Genesis is the worst band of all time.
Yeah, man.
Does
I
he
said
does he
I
know
am
the
going.
Eagles exist?
Off.
I said I am going.
Eagles ain't bad
They're awful.
unless they're playing football.
Ooh.
Oh, burn.
Okay.
Like there's so, and that was just me trying to be provocative, but of all the bands in the world, you think Genesis is the worst? I don't even think about Genesis on a daily basis because it doesn't get played that often. And if it comes on, I'm like, oh, dope, it's Genesis. But like if the Eagles come on, I turn it off. Like I'll change the channel. It's the worst. I don't trust that he's a musician. Nope. Don't trust that
all,
guy.
all I ever think of when I think of the Eagles, when I hear the Eagles get mentioned, is Lebowski. When he's in the back of that guy's car, he's like, I just don't want to listen to the effing Eagles right now, man.
Yeah.
And I've had a rough day.
Yeah, Amigo the Devil has a line where he talks about being depressed, and he says, "I have a solution for that. I can turn on the radio and just cock it back, but I don't want to blow my brains out to Hotel California." And it makes me laugh every time because I'm just like, I felt that so good. Anyway, the Eagles.
They do
Genesis
not
sucks less.
fuck
Yes,
off.
they do.
No.
Have you ever heard the Eagles of Death Metal?
Is that some cover or something?
Okay, so it's the singer from Queens of the Stone Age. He plays drums. And the singer for this band, his name is Jesse Hughes. And they do essentially like, it's like the dance. Thank you, Nate. They're dance rock. They're actually incredible. I love them. I've seen them a couple times. And the way they got their name was if you like, you almost have to have heard them to get the joke. but they did their demo and they played it to a death metal. No, they played it to, I forgot. I'm not even going to say his name. I don't remember who it was. And his response was, "This is what it would sound like if the Eagles played death metal." So that's how they got their name, the Eagles of death metal. But I'm telling you, dude, it's disco. It's like disco dance rock, and it's really funny just because like, the Eagles are kind of widely hated by most people.
That's not. I'm sure it's. I
Sure.
bet it's more like one of those 51% hate them and 49% love them scenarios. It's not like 80% people are just like kind of like, yeah, they suck or yeah, they're good.
How many Eagles t-shirts do you own?
Any band.
Yeah, like if
I
you see
bet I have a
something that
Leonard
wears,
Skinner shirt hanging up in the closet somewhere still. I've
yeah,
owned dozens of band shirts, but they never
ain't
rust.
nobody buying Eagles t-shirts. Ain't nobody got Eagles tattoos. They suck.
I like two of their songs. All right.
Next
Big
one.
Kurt. Unpaid or underrated. I think there's a whole story here. So Penn State cult.
I'm going unpaid on this. So I understand how Penn State comes across to certain people. I caught a lot of shit in Crew Falls for
So
Penn State.
just for the clarity, like is so there's not a it's just it was written as Penn State cult in the notes, but it's just like how like
We don't know what that means.
the cult fan bases. There's not like I don't like I understand what Penn State is and how they have a huge fan base. Is that what you're talking about? Like I guess I'm specific.
And the reputation comes to be that like people bleed blue and white, that like everyone who went to Penn State is just absolutely in love with the culture there, and it just kind of becomes like central to their identity almost. I went to Penn State because at the time it was the most financially responsible thing for me to choose to do. You know, that when I went there and when I started, I think it was like 8 grand a year or
Yeah,
something like that, to
that's
where
fun.
now it's like in the 40s, I think, or something. Like, everything's crazy expensive now. But it was just like the most affordable college for me to go to. And I loved my time there. It was a great education and everything like that. But like I don't go to war when Penn State's playing. You know,
Gotcha.
I'm not like
Yep.
I'm not like over the top with it. Where there are a lot of people who really firmly believe in that culture. So I'm
What
not there.
years were you there in relation to Paterno, Scandal, and Sandusky and all that?
Shit, yeah, that's right. So we were going up. So I graduated in 2004. It was when I graduated. I think that shit happened in 2011,
Well,
right? So
you graduated college in 2004?
yeah.
Yeah, I thought you were younger than us. That's wild. Did you start college when you were like fucking 12 or are you actually 45? Because you look like you're 35. I know I'm not big math over here, but that makes you 4 years older than me, at least 3 years older than me, and that's crazy. So
I'm
what are you?
42, man.
Okay, okay.
Master's lifter. Um, so yeah, we were actually going up there. A couple of my buddies and I were going up there just to kind of hang out for the weekend in 2011. And when we were on the way up, we had the radio going, and it said, "Yeah, there's a story coming out of State College about allegations against the former defensive coordinator up there." And we just kind of went, "Huh, that's not good." And literally that weekend as we were up there, you just like started hearing it going around more and more, and then eventually that Monday was when, yeah, it was bad.
So I'll do a follow up there then. Unpaid or underrated, Joe Paterno
Jesus
as
Christ, dude.
it's
We have this game we like to play.
What is this, Saw?
Yeah, right? Like,
like
there's no answer. Anyway, roll
uh,
tide.
vroom vroom.
You don't have to answer that.
It's like
I gonna like it if everything's true. If like the whole story that came out is unequivocally true, you gotta go unpaid
yeah.
on it. Fair is
Did
fair.
I've never watched like I've seen some documentaries and shit on it, and I know most of the story, but I know there was a wasn't there an Al didn't Al Pacino play him in a movie? Did you watch that? And was it actually like about the scandal shit, or was it only about
Did
like
that come
football?
out?
Yeah, there was definitely an Al Pacino movie. I swear to God, there was. I vividly remember. Oh, fuck, did it? Are you gaslighting me? I swear to God, there had to be a.
I
No,
would,
I
you know
no,
what?
I
I'd
vividly
love to
remember
talk about
seeing.
anything else.
Uh, no, I'm talking about just the movie in general because I'm a movie guy.
Yeah, I know, but like,
Yeah,
I'd literally love to talk about anything other than pedophiles. So, unpaid or underrated sardines.
underrated. Underrated. That's
Blech,
actually what I'm taking. That's what I'm taking for lunch tomorrow.
blech.
the fuck? How are you eating that sardine?
So I I
Are
do
they
my best to
high
meal.
protein?
It's a decent hit of protein, and I do my best to meal prep lunches every week. I'll cook a couple pounds of chicken that my wife and I, we'll take a couple portions of that throughout the week, and we actually try to like stretch it a little bit as much, so we don't take chicken every day. So I have to have like something else as kind of the main protein in my lunch, and I think tuna fish, unless you're going to like make it drown in mayonnaise, kind of sucks. So like I'm looking for any other alternatives that we can. Uh, we we went to Spain a couple years ago, and
Oh, that's a different story. Yeah.
we had a couple dishes over there where sardines were like the primary dish, and it was delicious. So like we just kind of like kept that alive. And I understand that the stuff that you get at the supermarket isn't the same thing, but I kind of like them.
Yeah, we used to have a guy that would eat them in the lunchroom, and we would just be like, we'd hate that dude so much. I have no like my sense of smell is so on point lately that everything makes me gag and throw up, so actually can't eat fish at all anymore. But no, 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 sardines are blat.
Dude, I get yelled at to get out of the room.
Oh yeah,
Like,
you should.
I
Sorry, you
actually
should. Yeah.
I eat them in a separate room before I go like join other people to eat lunch with them.
And
Like I
even
eat
then, they can tell. Unpaid or underrated, Ric Flair.
of all time, man. Underrated.
Woo.
Underrated. I got to meet him.
Mm-hmm.
I got to meet him one time. He was at this convention center up by me, and this would have been probably about 13 years ago, something like that. So I don't know how old Ric Flair is now, 400, like a
Yeah,
Maybe 75 plus, right?
yeah.
he's old as dirt.
So there was like a decision that I had to make, like was I going to go or was I not going to go? And my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, we had just started dating. She didn't know who he was. She didn't care about it. She's like, you know what's going to happen? Like you're going to go there and you're going to see this guy who's like a total shell of the dude who you used to idolize, and you're going to be depressed and disappointed.
I don't know about that.
That was the complete opposite.
Yeah, I would say like that. She's probably right
He is 75.
90%. But when it comes to some of these guys, no, no, definitely not that one.
He scared the shit out of Ray Rice, the guy who was the running back for the Baltimore Ravens. Like at one point, like Flair went to use the bathroom, and Ray Rice was going to be the next guy coming to sign autographs after him. So he just had walked up and didn't see anyone there, so he started like mingling with people. And when Ric Flair came back and saw him, was basically like, "Who's this guy like stealing my time?" And I got to see him like wind up and like his chest like go out and like get ready to start to do the woo. And it was like time froze for me. I'm like, I know what's about to happen. This is going to be amazing. And he literally made Ray Rice like jump up and like scared the shit out of him. I'm like, this is
Fuck
amazing.
Ray Rice. If there's anybody that would have been funny to get his ass kicked by Ric Flair, it would have been that piece of shit.
Who? Who?
Oh, he like knocked his
I know the
fucking
name.
girlfriend. He
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah. In the elevator, right?
Well, he was like
Yeah.
the first one to really get caught on camera. Like that fucking half of the fucking NFL guys, well, not half, but there has been many people that beat the
A
shit out of
lot
their
of
old ladies and shit, and then he just happened to get caught on camera, and he got essentially ostracized, which was pretty good.
Yeah, man.
But then like 10 other people have done it in the last couple years, and they're all still playing. So it's kind of fucking weird that I almost, if he wasn't a piece of shit, I'd almost feel bad for him because he basically like had 2 or 3 years left. He probably still could have been a starter in the league, and he just never got signed again.
Yeah. Yeah, well. Nope.
Deservingly so.
Okay. Geez, I have a couple I really want to talk about, but I'll do one more because we are running time here. Uh, Unpaid or underrated? Flava Flav.
Oh, he's the man, but in the greater scheme of things, I'm gonna go unpaid. Like
What?
I know I I definitely appreciated some Public Enemy stuff, and I got all the respect in the world for Chuck D, as a songmaker, as a lyricist, and everything. I get the shtick and everything, but for me personally, I would go, I'd go unpaid on that one.
Interesting. And
I'm sensing you firmly disagree.
I respect his scent or his spot in that culture. I'm also a huge Public Enemy fan. Like I love Public Enemy. And I don't think there would have been a Public Enemy without him.
That's the story.
Well, Chuck D literally wouldn't have done it without him. He
Yeah.
said they said no, and he was like, "Then you can't have me." And then they were like, "Okay, then we'll bring him along too." I don't think his contributions are as intellectual as Chuck D,
No.
but I think if you listen to 911 as a joke, he definitely shows his talent and adds to Public Enemy. Yeah, I think if I was in your position, I would have had a harder answer.
It's it's tough to see him have kind of become like a commercial caricature now.
Yeah,
And I
for
think
like 25
that's
years.
where I'm coming from on
I see.
that.
Yeah, okay, I can see that because even now, I'm just like, yeah, okay, he's the guy from that terrible dating TV show,
That's all I
Right.
remember him
right?
from.
Right, but
Is he still with
also,
Bridget Nielsen from fucking like
but
that's
I remember him from
yeah.
fucking 911 is the joke,
Yeah.
or his all the songs he did, the feature he did on because he wasn't just a hype man, he did his own songs on a lot of
Yeah.
Public Enemy albums. He did a really good feature on Sex, Lies, and Violence or something like that. Like but at the same time, yeah, he's the guy with the clock around his neck that yells a lot.
Yeah.
All right. Should we do one more or go into the next segment?
Let's is yours gonna be more than a couple of minutes, Kurt? Not saying that it can't, I'm just saying that
No. Let's go into the
it's a
next
short
one. You passed unpaid and underrated. Let's
Yeah,
move
yeah.
on into what
I
you
feel
have
like
for us because it is
I feel like
10:30.
I feel
But
like
both of
Kurt
us are off tomorrow. Essentially,
I feel like
my
Kurt came prepared.
I have my yearly review tomorrow at 2 p.m. So that's my
Kurt's probably
job.
gotta Kurt's gotta get up and go lift in like 6 hours.
No, I went pretty hard today. Tomorrow's an off day. I'm gonna get
There you
after it
go.
on Saturday.
My quad is on fire. My right quad has been bothering me a lot lately. I'm a little nervous about squatting with it, to be honest with you. Fuck it, take it out. Or just like let's go, break it. What's the worst that could happen?
All right, I'm gonna start with Keith.
Yeah,
Yep.
but
Unpaid or underrated? Tudor's Biscuit World.
What the fuck is that?
so like that I've had it, but only like once I think. It is like huge in Morgantown and in West Virginia, but I moved out in like '08 and it didn't exist, at least not in Morgantown when I was there. But I did get it at least once, and it was probably fucking 12 years ago now. But it was really good. So I had my I judge every breakfast sandwich off of their, how Tanner, well, the pizza guy always says, get a cheese or a pepperoni and judge that off how good their pizza is. To me, like you
It's
judge
Nick. It's Nick from Live Large.
yeah. So like to me, I judge a breakfast establishment like a fast food-ish, fast food or fast food adjacent off of their bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit. Not that I don't like bacon, egg, or sausage, egg, and cheese on a biscuit, but bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit for me, like the staple of a breakfast sandwich. So that was pretty damn good. It was like a 9 out of 10 there. So Tudor's Biscuits World will go underrated.
Awesome. The FMK I have for you is on lifting. I'm gonna go push press, axle deadlift, sandbag.
Sandbag or pea gravel bag?
I had sandbag down, but if Pete Grapple makes it harder, I'll go with that.
You know what? It just not to hijack Keith's thing here. I didn't realize there was a difference, and there is. They are very different things to lift. The weight is so off center on pea gravel. I didn't realize I'm essentially lifting in hard mode because I use pea gravel. I never understood that. And somebody was just like, well, yeah, that makes sense. The distribution's different. I was like, it is. Anyway, go ahead, buddy.
I figured Keith was going with the sandbag, and that's why I had that one.
Yeah,
Okay, so sorry. So this is I wasn't sure if it was mine or his. So
it's
this is
yours.
my FMK push press, axle deadlift, or sandbags.
Yeah.
I'm gonna kill axle deadlift because I suck at that. And I fucking pretty sure I hurt my back doing it last week. That's what, shut up, Joe. If you fucking tell me to get a stronger back again, I'm gonna fucking talk smack you to the goddamn computer. Um, so actual deadlifts are brutal and they're unpleasant. So I have to because the bar, like, you think you like a deadlift bar, like there's actual deadlifts are so weird because there's just no whip at all. You're literally just picking up a straight shaft. It's crazy.
You would.
That'll make a good one. So then I gotta marry an F. So I'm gonna marry push press because any type of because that the fact that you left it as just push press and not axle or yoke or sorry axle or log. So yeah, I will marry that because that gives me so much variety. Sounds amazing. And then I'll F sandbags. They are fun, but not as much fun as a push press or any type of overhead press. I would take any overhead press over any deadlift or sandbag or any basically anything overhead press would win the Mary category pretty much for me going forward.
I think it's super impressive how you're able to manage the pressing in the no wine cellar and then just getting it between the rafters there. I'm
I
always like,
try.
that is awesome and that is great work.
I'm getting antsy not being able to use my log. I mean, I could like strict press it like Kevin is, but strict pressing a log, it's not fun, and it's just like I just want to sit there and fucking push press it and like push jerk it, and it's just not being. So I have not been able to. I haven't done a real log press in like 3 or 4 months, so definitely getting antsy for that. But it'll be spring in a couple months.
Oh yeah.
Do it up.
And the Mount Rushmore I picked out for you, I said Cleveland Browns players.
Okay. Oh, Mount Rushmore, Cleveland Browns pairs. Joe Thomas, 100% number one. Uh, tough. Jim Brown, obviously got to go up on there.
Jim Brown played for the Cleveland Browns.
Yes.
That's convenient.
Yeah.
Um, man, that's tough. It's been some good. That's bad because we haven't had like great players the last like through my lifetime. It's Joel Batonio. Um, he should end up in the Hall of Fame also. I wish I could Google like who our Hall of Fame players are and go with just that, but there's not enough studs. I would have put Myles Garrett up there until he asked for a fucking trade yesterday. So
Yeah.
fuck him. Um, uh, Christian, so bad I can't even. I'm just trying to think of a let me throw a defensive player in there.
I got one in mind, but I don't want
Somebody who is that?
And Nathan just threw one in the chat.
No, I didn't. Yeah, Baker Mayfield. No.
I was thinking secondary.
Oh well, yeah. I mean Joe Hayden, but he can't get his shit together and not get hurt. Or I always get him mixed up. Man, you're killing me. I can't think. I hate being on the spot.
At least he's not out here hitting his wife on camera.
Yeah, I will not go Kellen Winslow. Like,
No.
that fucking piece of shit is like in jail for doing some really fucked up shit. Bernie Kosar.
I was hoping you were going to go quarterback for one of them.
I mean, I didn't. I
find him.
honestly never like Bernie is just because he's famous. I've never seen him play it down in my life. You know, well, maybe if I've watched some of the '80s stuff on YouTube and stuff like that. But yeah, that's kind of sad that we haven't had as many. I'm probably gonna go to research after this and be like, oh, I forgot these 8 guys that I'm like that are amazing players. And but yeah, that'll be my 4, I guess.
Yep, forgot about Ray Finkel.
Laces out.
I just really respected it when I heard you grew up in Morgantown and you weren't a Steelers fan and you were a Browns fan instead. I was like, this guy's okay.
Yeah. So I mean,
that was the key, eh?
my my grandparents lived in Ohio, Cleveland specifically. I have a lot of family on both my dad's and my mom's side in Cleveland. And like, orange has been my favorite color since I was a kid through my older brother's sports teams that I was supposed to go to before I moved. So then I was kind of resonated with orange. And then I think I was just bored before seventh grade in 1998 or something like that when the Browns came back, maybe eighth grade. And I remember watching the draft when they drafted Couch, and I was like, oh, this will be my team now. And I just like just started watching like I just like I mean I had some teams that I kind of like I didn't hate as a kid that I remember watching and supporting, but like from like 1999 until like today, it's like I am a Browns fan.
Badass. Joey, unpaid or underrated? Collective Arts Brewing.
Whoa. I hope they're not listening. I have friends that work there. Unpaid.
Wow. You're getting some really good reviews on Beer Advocate and the stuff that I'm seeing about them.
Yep.
It looked like it was a pretty good scene. So
No,
I,
it literally is. And here's a little story that used to be a Labatt brewery. And before it was a Labatt brewery, it was an independent one called Lakeport. And they were based out of my city, independent and all that. They were actually the original dollar a beer.
okay.
You would every bottle was $1. A 2-4 was $24. So Labatt bought them out and then just kicked them out. They bought the recipe, they bought the brand, and then they shut down the factory. And here's just a word to those fucks. They filled all the sewers and all the drains with cement so that nobody else could build a brewery there. So Collective Arts went in and redid it all. And they brought back beer to Hamilton. And back then, hell yeah, you would catch me there all the time because it's right by the lake. You go down, you have a beer on the patio. Like it was a grand old time. I used to go there a lot, but they are very heavily focused right now on just these weird microbrews that I'm just not into. Like they don't have like a beer I want to drink all the time. And I can buy a Collective Arts in Columbus, Ohio.
Ooh.
Right. So they have now gone past being our little local to being international and being readily accessible. So I think that I genuinely haven't drank a Collective Arts in 2 or 3 years.
Would you say that that is the biggest one in the city?
Absolutely. Because like, again, I can go to Nova Scotia and get a Collective Art.
Mm-hmm.
I can travel the country and get Collective Arts, but there are so many. I was a member of one of them. Like there's so many little smaller breweries doing different, better things, but Collective Arts is doing it bigger.
We went to Vancouver this past summer, and
Yep.
the beer scene there was amazing. And
Yep.
and I thought I remember seeing a Collective Arts there, but I couldn't quite picture it. Um, that maybe there's other ones with similar names there. So I
No.
don't.
You can get Collective Arts probably all over Canada.
Yeah,
And that's not a bad thing. It's just they're not my local craft brewery anymore.
gotcha.
Right.
For FMK, I looked around the gym that you had there, and I picked out Denny Stones deadlifts, which seemed to be your jam. And honestly, dude, like I saw the videos of you push pressing and was like super impressed. I like the one video I came across, you hit like a 165 triple, and I was just like, damn, that's really impressive. So I was gonna say Denny Stones deadlifts push press for you.
Currently, probably going to kill the Denny. I love the Denny's, but they don't really serve a purpose outside of being fun.
Denny's
Yeah, like,
is fucking 400 pounds.
and so I was watching your Denny's, and this kind of is leading towards my answer is unless you're loading them for time or you're doing 1 rep max, they don't serve a purpose. So like for training, you would train for Denny's. You wouldn't train Denny.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense to me. Like to me, I obviously there's going to be people out there that know more about training than I do, but I could do a Jefferson deadlift and work the same muscles.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Obviously we're going to marry deadlifts. I love deadlifts. Like I wouldn't be here without them. So I guess that means I'm going to F with push press or overhead press. It's been a long time. I don't know what video you saw. Um, it's been a long time since I did anything that big, but it definitely is one of, again, I build my back. So I'm going to push press. I can probably push press more than I think I can, at least my body weight for reps. So yeah,
That's what I figured. I figured it was an old video, and I figured I'm like, if that's not his body weight, that's like
yeah,
close to it.
it
And
would have been just over.
yeah.
No,
And
the only reason, honestly, that the only reason I hate bench is because of power. I actually like benching as a movement. I hate benching as a command.
yeah,
Like if that makes any sense.
that's what I'm most worried about come competition time. Just because I've always done touch and go, and so I'm getting used to that movement is
Yeah.
going to be the world for me.
Yeah, take the fifth.
Drop 20 pounds and start
Yeah.
pausing. Yeah.
And for your Mount Rushmore, I went real specific. I said WWF Intercontinental Champion who never won the big belt.
Dude, how am I supposed to know that? Um,
You can just go IC champs if you want.
yeah, because like obviously the first has to be Roddy Piper.
Interesting. Okay.
Um, I mean, you've met me. Roddy Piper is like one of my favorite people of all time.
It makes sense on a couple levels.
Yeah, like yeah, I read his book, I watched his movie, never got to meet him. I love that dude and everything he did for wrestling. I still say there's no WrestleMania without Roddy Piper.
No
And his
way.
goal was never to win the belt. He actually never wanted a belt because he said his character made more sense never winning a belt. So I think he was an IC champ. Actually, if anybody's can Google that and make me wrong,
I'm pretty sure he was.
yeah, and then like because I think that was the one where he said I don't want this, and they were like, "You're gonna take it." Um, or he was the world champ briefly and dumped it. Uh, Macho Man, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gotta be on that list. Um, mm, you know what? I want to say Sheamus, but I think that's the only belt he's never won.
Yeah, he's after my time, so I can't comment on him
I I
specific.
I love that guy. I love watching him wrestle. I genuinely think I don't think he's ever won that belt. Uh Goldust could go on there. I believe he was an IC champ at some point. Oh my, yeah, this is super specific. Um, I don't know who I'd put on last. You got me. You stumped me. Oh, no. I was gonna go John Cena, but he was a better US champ than he was an IC champ. My wife just coughed so loud it interrupted my thoughts.
Still better than fucking tappy 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 over there.
Yeah, yeah, thump 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 thump. Um, I don't know. You'll have to give me a second. Let me Google it. Yeah, I'm only at 3 because I actually don't think Sheamus ever did win it. Now I'm wondering if
I love it that you picked all the guys that just like straight draw heat.
Yeah. Yeah, that tracks for me, doesn't it?
I barely remember like the levels of belts because then I always get like WCW because they had like the TV. They basically like every both federations had like the heavyweight championship and then like a tier below that and then one way below that and then like
Yeah.
like a lightweight, which some of them even didn't have the. And then it was a tag team, right? It
Exactly.
was pretty much.
And I brought this question up because there were a couple guys who I really liked when I was younger who like definitely never were able to be the champ, mainly because Hulk Hogan didn't let them. And that was kind of the inspiration for the question.
So yeah, a quick Lugal, Chris Jericho, 9-time IC champ. You got to put Razor Ramon up there,
Exactly.
right? Like probably the top. So okay, so we're gonna go back and do this again, confirming whether or not Roddy Piper was on there. So it's gonna be Roddy Piper. Now that I'm seeing some more names and thinking, like, I don't give a shit about Cody Rhodes, not even a little bit. So Roddy Piper, Macho Man, China, and
Damn.
Razor Ramon. Oh, we owe China everything.
I saw the funniest meme with China in it today. So it was like a dating app back and forth thing. So it was like a picture of China. It was
Mm,
the animated picture of China from like fucking
from one of the games.
WWF 1997 or something. And then they were like, "Isn't this China from this video game?" And he's like, "No, I'm texting from an Android." And I was like, "Oh my God," I laughed. So I actually sent it to Big Mac because he's a big Android guy.
Yeah, I know. I did see that. Yeah, that would be my for sure, as long as Roddy Piper is confirmed. Yeah,
That's that
we owe
sounds.
China everything. She did so much and was an amazing worker. She was the first female intercontinental champion. I think the only actual female intercontinental champion. She was the first female. Like she did everything, and then they were like fired, and then she like died. Like she just went away
Yeah,
forever,
I just saw a
and it
sound.
was
It
all
must
because
have
of personal shit.
I just saw a thing where Chris Jericho said she was like horrible to wrestle with and got a push that she didn't deserve. I guess I don't know. There's always like wrestle. It was like a big state. It was like a 15-minute thing, and I was like, I only watched a couple minutes of it, but there was definitely like one snippet of it. Was like I don't.
I love Chris Jericho, but I don't take his opinion for gospel.
Yeah, he definitely has a lot of.
Yeah.
He seems like he's a good dude overall, unless I'm totally misreading that.
We'll chat off air.
Okay.
No, he's definitely better than Chris Benoit.
There we go. Nathan's backing me up. He did win the Intercontinental Championship in the World Wrestling Federation on January 19th, 1992. This was his first and only time. Yep. So thank you, Nate. So there you go. Yep. Roddy Piper, Macho Man, China, Razor Ramon.
That is stacked. That's solid.
Like Edge should be on there too. Like I can go on for hours. Eventually, I'm just going to start a wrestling podcast.
I do not need to be the co-host for that one.
I don't think I could
a
have you.
litany of guys.
Just our own separate, unpaid, and underrated, like
Oh God, that would
like
be the
colon wrestling talk.
worst.
We'd only have like 30
Yeah.
listeners rather than our
If-
200.
I think we have like 30 listeners now. We just have a bunch of subscribers and maybe only 30 consumers, but we'll take it. Is that it, Kurt? You want to bring us in for? We ready to bring us in for a landing? Nothing else. Which that not saying that it was awesome. I enjoyed thoroughly all of that. Very well prepared.
Hell yeah. Shut it down.
Nate, do you have anything that you want to ask Kurt? Kate?
All right. So we have the affiliate ad links. So help you save some money and get big technical Nate one step closer to that speedboat that he needs. Obsidian Ammonia, Barbell Rescue, Plate Snacks, Home Gym Con, Belt Fed Strength, Freedom Fitness Equipment, and apparel from the Strength Co. Use code UNPAID at all those places. Helps save a little money for yourself. Big Kurt, one more time. Where are they going to find you?
Big Kurt on the Discord and on Instagram, KDubs_82.
Big Joey, where you at, buddy?
Joey_Malesko, MLECZKO. Hey, you'll remember that from the airport, Kurt. Tune back into our Crew Falls recap for that story. That's actually it. Don't look for me anywhere else.
Instagram, Unpaid and Underrated Podcast. We got the website, unpaidinternpodcast.com. Go race for first comment on over on YouTube. I'm Keith Honeycutt73 on Instagram. You can follow my Orange Gem, the No Wine Cellar, and Joey's got one more thing for you.
I do have one more thing. I said don't look for me anywhere else, but I lied. Look for me at massnomics.com/certified. Go and find the DILF dungeon. I know that there's at least one other gym here. Guys, are you all certified here?
I am. Kurt doesn't
have Kurt, not certified
Commercial
yet.
guy, man.
Not certified yet.
Yeah.
But yes, that's the other place you can find me.
See you next Tuesday.